to actually take that vote. Let us know who you think is going to win. And ultimately, okay, we're going to be able to see it right now. Ooh. This is kind of what we expected to a certain degree. Hashtag SW or hashtag KS, the gates are open.
Ooh, 2 Holy Paladins in this game. This is going to be very interesting to see. Actually, Velito's playing Retribution, never mind. 1 Holy Paladin in this game. That's going to be born good. We'll have to see how this one plays out. One of the things about Holy Paladins is they're actually very susceptible to the Ret Pally. If they get hammered just as often, they get bursted down by that Ret Paladin quite easily.
All right, SSDs already securing a freezing trap onto Metaphors. Look for that little blue icon. Whenever the healer is in that, he's not able to do anything to help his team, and it's more likely that his partners are going to be in danger. So every time he lands that, it's an important moment for them to get a lot of damage out. They managed to force Barkskin from Packrats. He's not going to have that defensive moving forward. Boom Surge playing that tank trinket as we already alluded to at the start of the tournament. Here's a swap though onto Borngood as Velito is leading the charge, dishing out a ton of pain. Borngood ducking for cover back behind the pillar. Packrats repositioning. Velito is overextended though, and they've switched their attention to him.
Yeah, Borngood manages to weather the storm, but one of the things about Holy Paladins in this matchup is they are not going to be able to outmana a Resto Shaman. So Super Whales, they're going to have to play very aggressive if they want to close out this game. You can see Metaphors now into the full trap. A little bit of damage on Packrats, but it seems like he's going to be able to tank through this quite easily, and once Metaphors get out of that crowd control, Packrats should get topped off.
Yeah, that Earthen Shield totem was placed right before the crowd control chain and allowed Packrat to soak all of the damage basically for free. Nice defensive plays from KS. Mana looking completely in favor of them as well. If they keep this defensive play up, they can definitely attrition this team of the Jungle Cleave. The whole Paladin is not going to have that long mana bar as Resto Shamans and Resto Druids. In the meantime, though, Packrat's finally getting under pressure. Another freezing trap secured as they lead the charge. Everybody in crowd control. Packrat in a 3-on-1. Now they're switching to Velito, trying to spread their pressure out. Velito also playing that tanking absorb trinket, so unlikely to go down at this point, but getting that huge absorb out of the way is definitely a small victory for the Super Whales.
Yeah, there's no question about it. Velito's still under fire. Metaphor's not in any crowd control, though. Should be able to top him off. Borngood's mana already at around 60%, so not necessarily the best situation for Super Whales. Potentially, he could be getting some drinks in this matchup, but it's just so difficult. And Boomkin can easily stop that with the Starfall. You know, Metaphors can push in and drop some totems to shut that down as well. So KS in a good position if the game plays out long.
And Borngood's actually running Avenging Crusader, and that allows him to attack and heal by attacking, but it costs a huge amount of mana. You can only do it a couple times in a game before he completely taps himself. We see a freezing trap secured, so this is Super Whale's moment to get aggressive. Packrat denies it with a Cyclone on Boom Surge that stops all damage output. Great timing by him, as well as the Earthen Shield Totem placement. Good defensive play there by KS, negating that entire setup. Borngood looked like he was trying to get a drink, but Starfall put down by Packrat denies it, and it's very important for KS to make sure that Borngood never gets to sit down for a drink. A Solar Beam used, interrupting Borngood. He's not able to save his teammates at this point, so Boom Surge is opting to retreat back behind the pillar. SSDs disengaging away as well, giving Borngood time to recover. Velito now getting punished for overextending. I really like the swaps from the Super Whales between Packrats and Velito. If they keep this up, they're going to pull big cooldowns.
Oh, full trap on Metaphors. Velito could be in some trouble now. The Metaphors actually trinkets out to save that bubble from Velito, but keep in mind, Retribution Paladins, they don't have that automatic bubble anymore, so it can be very scary when you're on low HP. You don't have that same sort of safety net that you had in Legion. You have to activate that ability by yourself, which means you have to make those crucial decisions.
All right, that was a Spirit Link totem, so 3-minute cooldown, very powerful defensive gone for the team of KS. Super Whales are squeaking ahead on cooldowns, but falling more so behind on mana, and I'm not sure if Borngood is ever going to get to sneak away for a drink. It looks like they're opting to just play aggressive, stunning up Metaphors, looking for more crowd control, but a Cyclone on SSDs broke the crowd control chain. Packrat Cyclones, these past 2 crowd control attempts have been perfect, basically, denying any freezing traps from SSDs or allowing them to easily soak through it. It looks like the Super Whales are now forced to retreat away and attack Velito, but stacking up as 3 members against a Ret Paladin and a Boomkin, that's a lot of cleave damage your entire team is going to have to take, and Borngood doesn't have a lot of mana to keep healing through it.
Yeah, he doesn't. He's running out of mana and running out of mana fast. We aren't even in Dampening yet, already under 50%. You can see Metaphor's mana doing quite well, quite healthy. Velito's going to be trinketing out of that Hammer of Justice. It looks like Metaphor is trying to avoid the trap here as SSDs charges in, gets an interrupt on Metaphors, but Packrat going to shut that down with a nice timed Cyclone. Boom Surge does have that Incarnation up, so Super Whales is trying to get aggressive, but really just can't find the pressure that they need.
All right, full freezing trap secured, and Velito is in trouble. Divine Shield on 10% health. That that was a critical moment. Metaphors with no trinket to get out of Freezing Trap, Valido with no trinket to get out of stun, and packrats didn't have any Cyclone diminishing return, so it was a big opening for the Super Whales to force that massive defensive. Divine Shield, a 5-minute cooldown. You see that below Valido's health. The Spirit Link Totem not available for 1 minute and 20 on Metaphors. Those are the 2 big cooldowns that they need to survive. The next Freezing Trap could close the game out if they can get it in this 10-second window. SSDs moving across the map, drops down the Snare Trap, it gets cloned up. They go for the stun. If they get the trap in this next 4 seconds, they just can't. They're getting shut down by packrats. SSDs is trying to get in there and land it. Grounding Totem was placed, but they land the trap. They could easily force a trinket. This is a critical moment. Yes, they force a trinket now for Metaphors. The next Freezing Trap on Metaphors could easily be Valido's life. Packrat needs to play as the MVP with Cyclones to keep his team going at that point.
Yep, both Boom Surge and SSDs do not have a trinket, so if Packrats can shut it down, like you said, he can ultimately keep his team alive. Another thing that happened in that exchange is Valido not only used his bubble, but he also used the Blessing of Protection on Packrat, so that's another Retribution Paladin safety net that isn't going to be available. Valido basically doesn't have anything left. Like you said, Metaphors has no trinket. This is not looking bad for Super Whales at all. We're about 5% dampening. Hammer of Justice over on the Packrat immediately gets dispelled, so that cross CC
nice.
Super effective for Super Whales.
Valido just stood on top of Metaphors and was able to eat the crowd control. That was really good positioning by him. That setup was easily the end of the game if he didn't eat that Freezing Trap. Good defensive positioning from Valido. Now they can get aggressive and in their face. They're looking to force the issue towards Borngood, but maybe they can't overextend. The pressure is forcing Valido back. He can't stay in their face. SSDs getting cloned up as Packrat's trying to pause the damage. Buy time for Metaphors to pick Valido back up. Metaphors caught into a stun. Nice Sanctuary. They could potentially Grounding Totem. We have to wait and see if Metaphors can time it here. Grounding Totem was used. SSDs baits out the Grounding Totem. He's going to kill that, land the Freezing Trap. Good play from SSDs, but now they need damage. Packrats is doing his best to slow it down. Do they have enough damage here? It doesn't appear to be the case, and this is looking better and better for KS as we move into Dampening, and Borngood's mana gets lower and lower.
Yeah, Metaphors had a really good Earthen Shield Totem there to keep Valido alive in that exchange, but Valido's still getting low, taking quite a bit of damage. Incarnation can be available for Boom Surge in around 30 seconds. That's an opportunity for them to take Valido down. Like you said, Sid, Bubble is such a long cooldown for the Rep Pally that forcing it out is so huge, but a big swap over onto Borngood in the meantime. He's playing Relentless, keep in mind, so it doesn't have that trinket available. That's the little magic damage reduction. He used that as well, but he's still low on mana. Everyone from Super Whales is rotting down.
All right, they forced the Veiled Eye absorbed from Valido. That was one of his last lines of defense, but Borngood, look at his team. They're all at 50%. We're at 14% dampening. Metaphors is almost full mana. He's got Spear Link Totem again. At this point, this is KS's game to throw. All they have to do is just trade cooldowns, push in on top of Borngood, and I think they're going to push him over. He's almost completely tapped that mana. How much longer can he keep this up? Can they pull off a miracle at this point? Because that's what they need. They stun up Packrats. They burst him down. SSDs grappling hooks over. He's looking for a trap. Will he be able to nail it? They bait out the Grounding Totem, and they do nail it. These traps from SSDs have been key. If there's one thing that will carry this game, it's going to be SSDs' traps.
Yeah, he's been very patient with it, landing it on Metaphors over and over and over. Packrats taking a little bit of damage, but KS, they sort of weathered the storm of the Incarnation from Boom Surge and managed to survive. Valido's still on 50% though. Metaphors popping the Ascendants, trying to top off his team so they can get aggressive and finish up this game. Borngood mana is not looking good, already down to around 15%. He's been playing very conservative these last few minutes, but still just running out, and eventually that's a great win condition for KS.
The next Avenging Crusader, which he has available, is probably going to tap the rest of his mana, so if they don't get a kill with it, Borngood's just on the ropes. Every time he goes in the middle of the map to get something started, Packrat starts attacking him, and Borngood has to run away. It's good swaps from Packrat onto Borngood, just spreading the pressure. We see a double stun, but instant dispel from Borngood. Nice job. Boom Surge is going to retreat away. Looks like SSDs is also forced back. They're a little bit reluctant to push out this deep into Dampening with so little mana. The Super Whales only have a few more maneuvers left before they're going to be completely tapped out. We see a preemptive Earthen Shield Totem. They have to wait for that defense to fade before they go for crowd control. Packrat's wasting Cyclone DRs. He's using this before the Freezing Trap was landed. Likely Metaphors will have to trinket Freezing Trap here. If he's not careful, a potentially huge amount of burst is available for Valido. A couple more seconds remaining on that Freezing Trap, but able to sit through it. Now into the Hammer of Justice. Sanctuary, Trinket, and Spirit Link going to be used. Chaos not throwing this game away. Borngood taps the rest of his mana on that push, and they don't get the kill. They are on the ropes now.
Yeah, Valido has that bubble coming up in 25 seconds as well, so if they can just hold on a little bit longer, this is looking so good for KS. Borngood, like you said, out of mana. What is he going to do to keep his team alive? So far, KS really doesn't have too much pressure. There's a bash over onto Boom Surge. Packrat's been doing such a good job in this game with the control. Cyclone now on SSDs. Good amount of damage over onto Boom Surge. He gets pressured down a bit. Borngud should be able to heal through it, but that's his last little bit of mana.
Another freezing trap sniped out. Divine Shield just came off cooldown. Let's see if Valido chokes. Is he going to be able to trade it out? There's a lot of damage incoming at the moment. Trades out Divine Shield and stays alive. It's so unfortunate for the Super Whales that a 5-minute cooldown had time to cycle back available for him to survive that setup. If he didn't have it, he was dead there. Now it's out of the way, but Incarn's available for packrats. He's going to pull the trigger. Everybody on the team of Super Whales is about to start rotting down. As long as packrats can get in there, is he going to be able to get in line of sight and do enough damage is the question. This cooldown's basically going wasted. He's not getting anything done with the Celestial alignment. Now they're making a push. They land another freezing trap. Valido is likely on forbearance. He's not able to use Bloodstained Protection. If they can sneak in enough damage, maybe they can take Valido down. SSDs trying to res his pet. Borngud caught into a stun. Fortunately for him, it was diminishing return. A big mistake there by Valido. That allows Borngud to escape to safety behind the pillar. He's still got Divine Shield, but I mean, they're basically cowering at this point with absolutely zero mana. Metaphor is basically at 90%. We see Boom Surge with Incarn. This is the last push. They need to get a kill here and now, but there's a Bloodstained Protection. Will Valido trade it out? He's trying to tank it. He's caught in a stun. He can't use it. Dipping low. Catching a Word of Glory potentially. There's the Bloodstained Protection, and they cannot cut through that, I do not think, to kill Valido. If Borngud can somehow pull this off for another 2 traps, I think they can take it, but that's a very tall order to make.
Yeah, that's going to take a miracle. Everyone from Super Whales is rotting down. 37% Dampening. Hammer of Justice on Boom Surge. Cyclone on Borngud. Borngud bubbles out of that, doing everything he can to keep his team alive, but the full Cyclone over onto Boom Surge is going to deny any incoming heals from Borngud. Valido, in the meantime, still taking quite a bit of damage. Metaphors, he has a trinket. No Spirit Link, though. There's a Hammer of Justice on Metaphors. He gets sanked out by Valido. He's going to be freed up. He's lost some heals, but a big amount of burst onto Valido once again. Metaphors has to trinket out of the trap, doing everything he can to keep Valido alive. Good job by packrats, slowing down some of the damage from Super Whales with those Cyclones.
Packrat wasting his Celestial alignment earlier. He could have killed the entire team in the middle of the map like this if he was more patient with the cooldown. Now Valido has to carry the team. He's got Avenging Wrath. If he doesn't get a kill with this, I think Metaphor's team is actually going to lose. If Borngud can keep him alive, he's got Avenging Crusader. He doesn't have mana to press it. He's gotten to a stun. SSDs is trying to lead the charge, jumping over, baiting the Grounding Totem. If he can land this trap, Valido will go down, but he's got Avenging Wrath up. Valido's doing a ton of damage back in their face. Boom Surge getting cloned up. They don't get the freezing trap. They needed it there to get the kill. Valido's trying to finish the job, pushing in with this Avenging Wrath. He's got a huge increase of damage. He needs to end the game with this. They've got everyone below half, absolutely no mana, cloning people at low health, silences onto the healer. Everybody on the Super Whales is basically dead at this point. Will they be able to pull it off? I do not think so at this point. It's looking so grim. Boom Surge got a stun, a clone on Borngud as Chaos finally closes it out at 43% Dampening. A valiant fight, but unfortunately SSDs just not able to secure the final trap to have the only
plays off the back of those traps, man.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be very important that he can slow down some of those incoming heals from Metaphor. That's really where they got all of the pressure in the last game, so I expect it to be similar in this one.
Now, I'm going to be looking at Packrat too, Sid. I really do want to see if he ends up switching to Veil to Eye as all, or if he can be a little bit greedy and not run this tank trinket.
Honestly, I would love to see Super Whales. They're playing this aggressive comp that just wants to win the game fast, and I just feel like it's a half measure if you're playing triple tank trinket on a comp like that. It's the same thing I was talking about with the RMP of making a movie yesterday. I really think that these guys should just play triple red button and just try to force the tank trinket proc, and then triple red button, blow someone off, 50-0.
I think that is something to keep an eye on, too, is like when we're actually going to see someone go all in on the offensive strategy. You saw that Basilisk getting cloned up here. I don't think we've seen a Basilisk yet so far in the tournament. So then for anyone who hasn't been paying attention to what's going on with BM Hunters, this is a pretty important ability to be keeping our eyes on.
There's no question about it. Think about like a never-ending Terminator. Basically, just gets dropped out on the map. It's going to chase you down relentlessly. There's not too much you can do about it. The only thing you can do is try to kite it. If you ignore it or you aren't paying attention to it and you get hit too many times, it is an extended amount of damage for the Beast Mastery Hunter. It becomes very scary very quickly.
It's like one of those things, you know, and you have those conversations at sleepovers, like late at night, of those hypothetical scenarios. It's like there's a snail somewhere on the earth. Like, you can have $1 million, a snail summoned somewhere on the earth, and it's just slowly moving towards you. If it touches you, you die. You take the $1 million. It's pretty much what the Basilisk is.
Scariest snail in the world.
Yeah, except you don't get $1 million. You just tank your rating if you get hit by it. We're going to see SSDs get stunned up for a second. I'm keeping my eye on those traps, though, Sid.
I mean, we saw early in this game, Chaos actually went after Borngud in the first Hammer of Justice, and even Borngud is running the tank trinkets, so he gets agility strength. That doesn't do much for him on Holy Paladin, but that shield allowed him to sit through the stun quite comfortably, and that's likely why he's also playing Relentless, so he can't get swapped to. All the crowd control on him is slightly reduced, and I think it's a smart decision. We see Boom Surge trying to build some momentum as Packrat did overextend there, but immediately retreats back to his healer. Born Good again getting swapped to, and I'm wondering if he is going to be the kill target before Dampening for KS. They've been putting a lot of attention on him. Yeah, Born Good's in the open for too long, and definitely a good target. Like I was talking about, Valido can land those consistent Hammer of Justice. There's not really too much Born Good could do. He is playing human, so he got out of that first one. The next one could be a lot more scary, and they could easily force out the bubble if they have the damage for it. All right, we see Boom Surge getting cloned up, denying any sort of pressure as the Super Whales are just trying to save their mana for a later game kill. It's very unlikely that they can get too much going before Dampening, but it's important about a minute before it or 30 seconds before it that they start forcing cooldowns so that when it's ramped up, that's a very scary situation for the other team to deal with. We see the Basilisk, as Rich pointed out, just marching its way towards Valido and trying to chomp him. He's a sad Basilisk, moving really slowly and now disappearing from the arena, but if that Basilisk does get to connect for any amount of time, it's a very powerful cooldown. We see a setup from the Super Whales as Metaforce is trapped up. They're trying to gun down for Packrats, but he's just tanking it out in bear form. Valido off-healing him. Again, Chaos playing kind of a triple healer setup, and that seems to be the meta. Tank trinkets, multiple hybrids, everybody heal each other, wait until Dampening, try and burst somebody down. Now KS looking to reverse it with a stun on Born Good and pressure on Boom Surge, but he's just going to duck behind the pillar and start healing himself as well. Soaking up interrupts that Born Good now doesn't need to deal with. This is great for Boom Surge in this position. I'm curious if they can really get anything done. They've got Incarn in 10 seconds. They need to force something with it.
Even with all of that, even with what KS is playing, they still, in this map, have so much more pressure than we saw last time around. I know that a lot of that pressure isn't going to equate to much, but it does seem like they firmly do have control of this matchup, even a little bit early on.
Well, I think the big reason for that is because all of a sudden Super Whales are turning all their attention to Packrat, and actually I don't think Valido was the wrong target choice. If you made a spec change here on SSDs, you should stick with the same target choice that you had in the previous match. There's no point changing your spec and changing your target because I don't think the target choice was necessarily bad. The Boomkin is going to have a lot shorter defensive cooldowns to rotate compared to that 5-minute cooldown bubble that Valido is going to be working with.
Has Packrat even had to press renewal yet? I don't even think I've seen him press renewal. So it's like one of those things. Yes, he doesn't have the tank trinket, but we talked about this earlier too for anyone who didn't tune in. The meta is slower not only because of this tank trinket, it is slower in general, and Packrat, he's going to be able to go into bear form, he is going to be able to trade out these short cooldowns, and he hasn't even been pressured enough to use renewal. A little bit of pressure coming in right now. We can see SSDs is going into full offensive mode here. What is Packrat going to be trading out?
It doesn't seem like he's going to be trading out really anything, and like Sid said, the meta really is that triple healer kind of setup. Packrat and Valido, they have a lot of off healing to support each other, so they go on Packrat and crowd control Metaphors. There's Valido. You can just spam out the flash of lights. It's a lot of healing to keep Packrat stable, so he doesn't have to use the Bark Skin or the renewal, but now we actually have Packrat using his trinket, using his Bark Skin, and that's potential opening for Super Whales as the game moves forward.
That was really smart by SSDs. So he has two types of traps. He has one trap that slows and then one trap that freezes. He threw the slowing trap at Metaphors to make him think it was the freezing one. That baited Metaphors to use Grounding Totem. Then when that was out of the way, he used his freezing trap instead to land it, because he always has to deal with Grounding Totem. He doesn't want to get his freezing trap grounded, so it was a smart play by SSDs, a good mind game. It's getting them a little bit ahead here. They finally got Barkskin at least from Packrat, but still not even forcing renewal. Born Good, on the other hand, is doing a great job with his mana this game. He's much higher. He's not playing the Avenging Crusader, so he's not going to be tapping himself as quickly, but they lose damage. I'm curious to see how that change plays out deep into Dampening.
Zico, I just feel like it's a pretty bad omen for the Super Whales when their kill target hasn't had to press renewal and they're already 7% into Dampening.
Yeah, and the biggest reason for that, honestly, is because Valido is just free to do whatever he wants at this point. When you're going onto Valido and you cross-kick Packrat like we saw in the replay, then you can shut down some of that healing. But when you go on Packrat, Valido is going to be using those instant holy words to top off Packrat, and you don't utilize your interrupts that way.
All right, we see a preemptive Earthen Shield Totem on this freezing trap, so Metaphor's getting ahead on the mind game for this crowd control, and Packrats can just safely sit in this totem, protecting him and absorbing a lot of damage. The mind game between the Hunter and the Shaman is definitely a difficult one to predict, and SSDs sometimes get ahead on it, Metaphor sometimes gets ahead on it, and it's if it's traded 1-for-1 like that, nothing really happens, but all of a sudden a huge amount of damage with that Basilisk. Packrats is basically just giving it a hug, now deciding to jump away from that deadly cooldown, and he did have to trade Barkskin at least for it, but as Eco has been pointing out, I really think Valido is the better target ultimately. I guess we're going to have to wait and see how it plays out, as they've basically dedicated all of their time to Packrats and forcing Divine Shield. Unless they get it within the next minute, it's going to be very difficult to go through all of Valido's cooldowns.
Yeah, Packrat's still low, though. Interrupt over on the Metaphors. Has to play a little bit of defense now. You can see Boom Surge chasing him down. Nice bash coming in from Packrat. And maybe they just want to go on Packrat to slow down some of that damage and extend the game. Maybe they feel like with the Beastmaster spec, they can eventually get that bubble later on. There's no point in getting too early on in the game, so could be a late game strategy from Super Whales, but I feel like this composition doesn't have the advantage of late game, especially with the Holy Paladin.
Oh, I mean, Borgard's still doing a really good job on his mana. He needs to be careful here with SSDs getting low. That was Packrat's biggest damage cooldowns. They've managed to retreat away, but now Valido is all over them as well. They force his tank trinket. They get a freezing trap, no Earthen Shield for that, and it looks like they're actually switching targets to Valido. They managed to pull Eye for an Eye, so they got at least one cooldown from him, and maybe they are going to switch targets here into Dampening. Maybe they attack the Boomkin early on to stop Cyclones, try and see if they could get a kill on him. Now into Dampening, they might switch again. We see Borngard caught into a stun, dipped below half. Boomsurge can't help him too much. He's in a Cyclone at the moment. And Borngard's just doing his best to stall it out and maintain his mana as high as he can for his team, and they'll get this freezing trap setups. Now they need to start working through the trinkets. With Dampening in the game, that triple healer kind of just heal each other when they're crowd controlled become much less effective, and they will force critical cooldown. So nice freezing trap secured here. They force Barkskin. Another freezing trap needs to get the trinket. Another freezing trap needs to get a Blessing of Protection, and then at that point, Packrats is a viable target to kill. Now they've got one of the three. They're switching to Valido in the downtime, trying to maybe make an opening there as well, and they're trying to get as many paths to victory as possible.
Ooh, Valido still low. Interrupt on Metaphors. Could they get the bubble? Doesn't look like it. I mean, that was Boom Surge's 3-minute timer, the Incarnation, putting out a lot of extra damage, but unfortunately only getting that Barkskin from Packrat. You can see Valido still has basically all his defensive tools left, as well as Metaphor. It's actually going to be popping the Ascendants to top off his team so they can continue this assault. Basilisk on the field. Are they going to take any extra damage from that? And Valido and Packrat been doing a good job avoiding that extra damage as much as possible. Boom Surge, unfortunately, having to use that survival instincts as he takes a whole bunch of damage with the full Hammer of Justice onto Borngard into a Cyclone. Valido, in the meantime, taking quite a bit of damage. Actually, the Divine Shield was forced out. Very nicely done by Super Whales.
Boom Surge just opened his mouth and chomped Valido's health bar. Half of it gone. Now Packrat's getting swapped to it, and Super Whales have suddenly just turned on the pressure. I guess they say, okay, Dampening's in. Your triple healer isn't as tanky anymore. Now we're going to start making our move. Nice freezing trap. They need to force a trinket or Blessing of Protection with this. They get the trinket. Perfect setup there from the Super Whales. The next one needs to get a Blessing of Protection. They've been switching targets as well to try and open up as many paths. They've been playing it perfectly. They've maintained their mana into the late game. Super Whales can definitely take this despite the disadvantage.
Yeah, you know, SSDs has been doing an excellent job with his interrupts on Metaphor in this game. That's one of the advantages of the BM Hunters. You have that ranged interrupt once again, so that's been a big tool for them to get additional damage. Boom Surge caught into the Hammer of Justice. Borngard trying to keep him alive. Throwing out some massive heals onto him. There's a Cyclone, though, nicely done by Packrat. If they can get any CC on Borngard, they could be able to force massive cooldowns. Avenging Wrath going to be used by Borngard to empower his healing. He needs to top Boom Surge off, but Packrat's just making it so difficult with these Cyclones. Finally, it gets a moment to breathe. Top off Boom Surge. You can see he's retreated behind the pillar. Finally trying to push in and get some more damage rolling on Valido.
All right, Packrats, we've seen this moment in the first game where he wasted his Celestial Alignment. Now he's got the entire team in the open. This would be a perfect opportunity to pop that cooldown, get a ton of damage out, but they're in crowd control. Packrats trinkets out to try and support. This is the freezing trap that needs to force a Blessing of Protection if they're going to get a kill, and they don't have enough damage to get it. That's going to put them one cooldown behind, and the mana is not going to last forever for Borngard. There's the Celestial Alignment. Packrats needs to get something with this. He's desperately trying to attack Boom Surge and at least force a cooldown, but whoa!
The Basilisk!
Ferocious Bite is such a...
Wait.
He still got the bubble. Oh, Borngard. Don't get greedy.
Don't throw it away.
The Basilisk just got jumped by the Basilisk too. Oh my goodness. What a way to close that one out. I had completely counted them out. I mean, we were basically, and it just allows that opener to be somewhat of a wash on the side of KS, which is all fine and dandy. What if we see Borngard, though, able to heal through that, and we see maybe triple red button actually get played? Is that ever going to be something that we see just completely swap to try to catch KS off guard, go for an all-in win strategy, Zico?
I mean, personally, if I was competing, I mean, I'm not, but if I were, I would try to set up a strategy like that where we try to land the trap onto Metaphors, do a setup onto the Valido, and proc that Veil die, and then on the next trap, we would just do a 3, 2, 1, and then everyone presses their red button when he's he's on about 50% and just try to one-shot him before he can even react, because it is off global cooldown and it hits for about 20,000 on each person who has it. So I think it's a viable strategy, but I don't think anyone has really experimented with it enough to bring it out in the tournament yet.
It's an interesting decision from Born Good talent-wise this game. So he's running Repentance, which is a 8-second casted crowd control. And I think they've realized with 3 healers basically on the other team, the only way to deal with it is high dampening that reduces the healing's effectiveness, or crowd control. So with Repentance, they can cast that on Packrat at the same time as a trap is landed on Metaphors, take 2 healers out of the game, then stun the target they're attacking and take the 3rd healer out of the game, and in that window burst somebody down. So I like that adaptation from Born Good.
Can you actually Repentance Boomkin in Boomkin form?
Yeah.
Okay, then it's a really good adaptation. I agree with that.
Yeah, rep is something that we don't see very often come into play, but when we do see people pull it off, it can just be that thing. The moment that it works all the way. It can very quickly turn into a kill.
And that's one of the things as well. When Metaphors is in a trap, there's really no one to interrupt Born Good unless Packrats saves his beam for that, and then he kind of loses that offensive capability. He's using it defensively instead, which Super Whales, I'm sure, is completely fine with.
All right, we see some burst damage on Valito, but just tanking it out. He's got both members on his team backing him up, soaking that hit. Earth and Shield Totem traded out. Boomsurge actually not playing Incarn this game, so he's going for more sustained damage, which is a little bit peculiar since they do these kind of hit and runs and freezing traps. I'm not sure if it is the best move, but they're also switching targets, so it's going to benefit the switching. We see a freezing trap. We'll see if the Repentance gets casted. Born Good's moving up. He's going for the Repentance, gets solar beamed on it, so now he's forced to use that to break up the crowd control rather than aggressively, so Born Good doesn't need to deal with that threat moving forward, but it does stop their crowd control attempt here.
Yeah, it definitely stops their offense, but now they can just free heal. And like you said, Super Whales seems to just realize, you know, with all the off healing that Chaos has, they just need to play the long game in the situation. Normally you see the jungle play very, very aggressive, but it can also be kind of difficult to push that jungle over if they are playing this defensive. Valito running behind the pillar, Boomsurge gets a lot of pressure on him, and all of a sudden Metaphors is falling behind. Now he's into the full main. You got the Repentance on Packrat. Nice 3v1 setup. Valito forced to trinket out. Should be able to keep himself alive, but that was really nicely done by Super Whales.
I mean, this is just such a different strategy coming out there, and it is really going to be almost similar to what you see from Rogue Mage in a certain way. They really are going to be going for just big setups, cross crowd control, and trying to pull things away. Now, it is still going to be a struggle, though. We see them completely get to have free reign on Valito. They get that rep out. They get Metaphors all CC'd up as well. What did they get? They got Veiled Eye. I mean, the thing is that's nice. They got that off the table for 2 minutes, but they still got bops. They still got bubbles that they need to be tearing on through. It's definitely an uphill battle for the Super Whales.
Yeah, and I mean, that's the thing here. On the first setup, they get that solar beam out of the way, and then on the second setup, they don't have the solar beam and they get the Veiled Eye. But now they're going to have the solar beam, and right there it is. And they're not going to force too much out of Valito because of that. And now they need another setup where they can get that Repentance onto Packrat, as well as that trap onto Metaphors. And that's where they most likely will force out that Trinket Spirit Link from Metaphors. And just having that Veiled Eye in that rotation, it comes in so many times and it just delays getting that bubble from Valito. And it's going to be up to Valito. If he keeps overextending like he did right there with the Veiled Eye procced, that's when they can really get that big bubble cooldown out of the way.
That could be why Boomsurge has opted to not run Incarnation. So his sustained damage throughout the whole game is higher, but his burst damage is lower, so that hopefully in Dampening he can proc the Veiled Eye with limited crowd control. Then when they get their long chain, he's still got sustained damage without having to use Incarn, obviously, because he doesn't have it. I think we're pretty close to Dampening at this point, so it will become more difficult for Chaos to get these off heals off on their team. I will say one thing, Chaos plays phenomenal defense, but they've got zero offense. I've never seen them make an offensive push where I was like, okay, they know what they're doing on attack. It just seems like they have no idea how to end the game. They can keep it going on forever, but they don't know how to end it. And unless they figure that out, I think Super Whales might walk away with this. Born Good's doing a phenomenal job on mana this time.
That was what was interesting about map number 2. When we were actually in the last map, we saw Chaos get much more offensive pressure right at the beginning. We saw Packrat getting decent amount of setup potential. Valito was really able to chunk the other players. Right now, obviously, a little bit of pressure on Boomsurge, but look at Born Good's mana. We keep saying that Born Good is going to just run out of mana very fast, and here he can just play really greedy. He can play safe. Veiled Eye is going to be proc. Valito now popping his offensive cooldowns, trying to go on the hunt. They pulled the Veiled Eye, but I mean, Metaphors has everything in his utility still. He's got 100% mana, and we're already into 3% dampening.
It's just, if the Veiled Eye there didn't exist, Metaphors got trapped on his Ascendance, and I guarantee you that he would have to trinket there.
A little bit of pressure on Valido right now, but like we've been saying, Chaos playing defense very well. Packrats trinketing out to sort of rotate those defenses and help Valido when he was in a little bit of trouble. Nice little trap eat there by Valido, getting Metaphors out of that crowd control. Nicely done by him. It's something Chaos can consistently implement in this matchup if Super Whales doesn't get the cross CC that they need. Metaphors getting interrupted now, but still doesn't look like Super Whales has the damage. Born Good SSDs once again. They're going to be retreating. They know they need a little bit more dampening to push through those defenses.
Yeah, I mean, they just need to, what Valido needs to do is hold on to Divine Shield until very, very deep dampening. When dampening is that high, target Born Good, target acquired, run at him until he dies. Use Divine Shield to stay on him and kill him and put him down. So Valido should play it patient right now and try and hold on to Divine Shield so he has that safety net to get aggressive. If they don't have a defensive cooldown to trade to go aggressive, then Valido will die. So he has to save it when he gets it and go all in. And if they don't do it, they're just stalling the match to inevitably lose.
Yeah, they're just playing to live, not playing to win, like you said. And I think Born Good is a great target for them to go after, especially with that Retribution Paladin. Its dampening gets higher and higher. Holy Paladins basically can't heal through the damage without their wings unless, you know, Boom Surge is throwing in an insane amount of off heals that Metaphors could be there for Wind Shears or Packrats get Cyclone. So leave Born Good in a situation where he's all by himself, especially later on in dampening, can be so scary.
All right, nice dodge with the Repentance. Packrat shape-shifting out of Boomkin to travel to avoid Repentance and then cloning Born Good. That was nice plays from Packrat. That's setting up a ton of damage on Boom Surge. This is a great point in the game with dampening just starting to proc that absorb and start whittling down the cooldowns.
Yeah, Boom Surge is going to be retreating though, allowing Born Good to top him off with some Holy Lights. Valido now caught into the stun, interrupt on Metaphors. Good burst damage on Valido as he retreats. You can see he got Thorns, I believe, there by Packrats as well, just to really punish Boom Surge from attacking him. Big swap over on the Packrats, big bite onto him as well as he gets lower. Metaphors just so far away though, he's able to just free cast these heals, top off his team. Packrat though still a little bit low. The Healing Life strip from Metaphor should be able to top him off, but the full bash now. Sanctuary going to be used by Valido to remove that stun on Metaphor, freeing him up once again.
Nice job by SSDs, baiting out the grounding totem with the slowing trap and then securing a full freezing trap. They're going to get Barkskin from Packrats. Good cross crowd control from the Super Whales. They're actually going after the Boomkin with Repentance on Valido, which is amazing. They take all of the instant healing out of the game with that. Now they left this as a surprise and dampening. They were attacking Valido all game, and now they've switched up their strategy and Chaos aren't ready.
Yep, the Boom Surge just has so much burst damage with that Ferocious Bite. At any moment, someone from Chaos could go down if they're just a little bit too low. It's similar to that Windwalker Monk Rising Sun Kick. You got to be very scared because, like I said, at any moment, 40% to 0. So Chaos has to be ready for it. There's the Maim over on a Metaphor stun on Packrats once again. Look at this triple CC. That's what we're talking about. Valido has to trick it out. Packrats getting lower. Still has a renewal. Not using it just yet. Finally using it, but really not doing too much healing. There's the bash. Valido has to try to keep him alive with that Blessing of Protection. There it is. Spirit Link Totem overlap with the Blessing of Protection. Huge victory for Super Whales.
Yeah, and I mean, the Super Whales have a strat to win now. They just switch targets, put the Repentance on a different person, and suddenly they forced every cooldown in one freezing trap. So, and Dampening is assisting the healing reduction, and they saved this strategy until deep dampening. Chaos weren't ready for it. They're blowing through all their defense, and we see the double crowd control again. Packrats on the run. SSDs all over. They could easily close the game if they're not careful. One Ferocious Bite could just take his life. Packrat hangs on. The trap is now over. Metaphor's playing it patiently and holding on to cooldowns. They need to find a way to push them over, though. They're staying alive, but they're not doing anything offensively, and they're just inevitably going to lose in this position. We see the Basilisk is chasing down Packrat. Born Good looking for cheeky Repentances as well. And with this Earthen Shield Totem fading, no Barkskin, no support from Valido. Nice interrupt there on Metaphors. They need to follow up. Boom Surge is going to jump over. SSDs nails the trap. They trick it out for the kill. Where's the Repentance? Born Good is going to land it. Everybody in crowd control. Metaphors trinkets out and dispels, realizing that situation could easily close the match. Now they survive. Now they need to push. Where's the push?
Yeah, there is no push. They're just not getting aggressive whatsoever. Super Whales, they are so happy. They just wait for Trap DR, push in, get a cooldown, then run away. And Valido, Packrats, Metaphors really not putting any offensive pressure out. Packrats finally going to be charging in a little bit. Born Good just so far away, though, actually looking for a drink. Opting now to get a little bit aggressive. You can see Metaphors already used the trinket. Packrats taking a lot of burst damage once again by Boom Surge. Activates the Barkskin. There's the full trap on Metaphors. Repentance on Valido. Packrats all by himself. Valido has to bubble out to cast out some heals just to buy a little bit more time. SSDs gets the offensive bop there by Born Good to seal out this game. Packrats manages to survive the last few moments. Metaphors is going to be throwing out some heals as well, but he gets interrupted there. Hodge on Born Good. Still no damage for KS. They're just on the back foot this entire game.
Okay, Valido has finally found Born Good. Raven, and he's attacking him. They survive the freezing trap. They need to get a kill in this downtime, but actually gets a repentance off the DR. Snuck that one in. Now they trap up Valido. They're mixing it up and keeping Chaos on their toes. There's almost nothing left. Packrats have been solo with Dampening, ramping up. Valido manages to keep him alive while Metaphors was crowd control, but Valido's out of mana. He can't really heal anymore. Packrats is dipping lower and lower. Will he be able to recover? Looking for Cyclones. Manages to find one. Spamming out Regrowth. That triple healer. The Ferocious Bite, though, almost managed to take him out. Packrats survives. Now it's time to get aggressive. Find a target. Push in. The only thing is that they burned through all their defense. They've got no safety net to fall back on if they make a push, and at this point, they've stalled the game out for absolutely no benefit.
Yeah, Packrats has just been in bear form the last couple minutes of this game, having to run away, and just speaks volumes to how much damage and how much CC Super Whales has really been putting out. Once again, Barskin's going to be activated. Metaphor managed to sit by that through that full trap, but in the meantime, Packrats has basically done no damage. Look at him, he's just sitting in bear form. Boom Surge all over him right now. Valido spamming out the heals, and all the pressures in favor of Super Whales. Hammer of Justice on Valido, interrupt on Metaphors. Packrat could go down and ultimately does. Super Whales up 2-1 in this series. You can see Metaphor has 100% mana, but actually just can't get the heals out that he needs.
You know, kind of get some serious work done, but Maldiva going to be the first Affliction Warlock that we have seen in BFA. Is it going to be enough to tie up the series, or will Super Whales be able to just focus him down?
All right, you can tell Super Whales are not afraid of this composition. They're just going to run on top of Maldiva right away, forcing Sacrificial Pact Absorb. This is going to be the most amount of shields ever on a class. They've got Repentance still. They're still focusing on locking 2 members down. Maldiva's going to gate away while his team is crowd controlled and line of sight the incoming damage, but they're in hot pursuit. Maldiva's trying to get away. That kiting was perfect. He got right back in line of sight. Oh, Metaphor's gating out of line of sight for a second. That procs his tank trinket immediately early on. That's devastating for Maldiva. He's falling incredibly far behind. The Spirit Link talent on 2 squishy classes is making it difficult for Metaphors to heal. He's actually even just using Chain Heal spec to try and get his whole team back topped off. That's going to cost a lot of mana. We see a Cyclone on Born Good. Good timing. SSDs running the Feign Death honor talents. Every time he Feign Deaths, he dispels all dots off himself and takes a significant reduced amount of damage. Really good talent choice from SSDs against a Warlock.
Yeah, Born Good getting me activating that Avenging Crusader to do additional damage and heal up his team every time he does damage. Maldiva getting lower and lower right now. Born Good putting out huge pressure on that Holy Paladin. Super Whales is playing in sort of all in right now. He's putting a lot of pressure on KS. Maldiva's getting interrupted over and over and over. You can see Metaphor's mana actually being a little bit more taxed. It's relatively even in this matchup, what we haven't really seen in the past.
I mean, both teams are playing all-in strategies. It's just going to be a dog pile of 6 players on top of each other, looking to fake cast interrupts and get crowd control. Right now, Born Good is getting shut down. That was great plays by KS. Now his entire team is going to start to rot. He does not have the Avenging Crusader for another minute and 20. They need to start running away. They're trying to duck for cover, but with the Spirit Link talent, it seems like KS are unafraid to just chase them down, keep their dots rolling.
Yeah, Maldiva, Packrat moving in, trying to get those dots out, trying to keep the pressure up. Born Good doing the best he can to dispel, move the dots from his team. They're trying to look for some crowd control here onto Metaphors. There's the full main. Once again, Maldiva the target of choice. Full trap on Metaphors. He doesn't have, he actually does have the trinket available. Repentance going to be overlapped there with that trap just a little bit on Metaphors. Cyclone now on Born Good. SSDs rotting down lower and lower. Packrat's putting out a lot of pressure. Boom Surge doing the best he can with off heals. You can see Boom Surge making sure he's out of line of sight, dispelling the agony off himself, keeping himself topped off, just to allow Born Good a little bit more breathing room.
All right, mana in favor of Born Good as both teams are playing all-in strategies. There's the Basilisk. Are they going to gate across the map and kite it, or are they just going to tank it? There's no way they can. Maldiva gates across. Metaphors follow suits. That's good. They avoid that big Basilisk. Packrat's pulling back as well. We see a full freezing trap secured, but Preemptive Earthen Shield Totem is going to allow this to soak up a lot of incoming damage. Despite that, his entire team is still just rotting down. I can't tell which team is the dot cleave between KS all at 50%. Super Whales almost completely topped off, and I don't think this composition switch is going to work out for them.
I think Maldiva's actually playing the Imp as well, so he can dispel Metaphors out of those traps and allow him to just get out as much healing as possible, because he needs it. You can see everyone rotting down, but Metaphor still has the Ascendance. They need to shut down the Ascendance of Metaphors. That's a cooldown that's going to allow him to top off his entire team. If they can crowd control him through that, it's going to be really strong and make it difficult for him to top off everybody.
Oh, nice counter shot on Metaphors. Maldiva going for a Shadow Fury. Lands it on the Boom Surge. SSDs moved out and dodged it. Good positioning. Ascendance gets popped. He's dipping dangerously low. Metaphors connects big heals and manages to save him. Mana basically tied. but as soon as he's out of mana, he can't reapply Spirit Link, and that Warlock without Spirit Link is basically made out of paper. So I don't think he's going to be able to survive too long, whereas Born Good, on the other hand, has Ultimate Sacrifice, which completely immunes damage, and those cooldowns are going to be way more powerful even when he runs out of mana. Nice eat on the trap there by Maldiva. That could give them an opening here to get aggressive. Packrat's going to pop Celestial Alignment with this opening. The entire team finally starting to rot down. This is the trigger being pulled by Maldiva. Can he get the huge Death Bolt off? He's going for a lot of Unstable Afflictions right now, building up to go for the Death Bolt. Drops the Dark Glare, refreshes his dots. He's ready to go, but not using it. He's holding on to it for a very long time. It's kind of peculiar. He's trying to, he waited for the tank trinket. Now that that Absorb is out of the way, Maldiva's got an opening.
Yeah, Maldiva's not afraid to charge in with that Spirit Link talent. Main trap over on Metaphors. Now Maldiva could be in some trouble. Metaphors gets dispelled out of that, though. Boom Surge rotting down. SSDs is rotting down as well. Avenging Crusader not up for quite some time for Born Good, but he did manage to basically top off his team. Packrats needs to make sure he's pressuring down Born Good in this matchup, forcing him to line of sight, not get as aggressive. You can see there SSDs getting that Blessing of Protection from Born Good to free him up from that bash, so he can continue his pressure. There's a bash on Metaphor. Maldiva, there is that big bite from Boom Surge that we're talking about, and I don't think Metaphors was able to refresh the Spirit Link.
Well, actually, towards the end of that game, because Spirit Link costs so much mana nowadays to actually reapply it.
Oh, a mirror.
There we go.
The Shaman, though.
Pre-called it.
Yeah, we have Colo on the Restoration Shaman. He's playing Spirit Link. I think they're just going to be trying to run down Whoopie. Whoopie is an exceptional Mistweaver Monk, though. He's going to be, I feel like he's going to do a really good job kiting in this matchup, but so far getting chopped up very, very easily. Smexing all over him with the Stormbolt. Thugonomics as well. Rosita Jones and Omnivore going to have to do a good job counter-pressuring.
Yeah, Whoopie's also running that tank trinket, so that Absorb early on going to be forced, along with Fortifying Brew. It's up to the Super Rejects to kill Whoopie before Colo's mana runs out, playing the Spirit Link talent. So far, Colo dealing with the pressure quite effectively using Healing Tide Totem. That's a quick pick-me-up for his whole team. But they are stacked for triple stuns of the team of 4 Fun. And with Sweeping Strikes, potentially Omnivore could get a triple kill later into the game. Earthen Shield already forced from Colo. Smexen falling behind. Thugonomics down to half, but they're just trying to stay on target, going after Whoopie.
Yeah, nice Ring of Peace there by Whoopie. Manages to escape. And one of the problems is that Smexen and Thugonomics are chasing down Whoopie. Colo's going to have to be on top of them to refresh that Spirit Link to keep himself alive. So far, Rosita Jones and Omnivore doing a good job getting pressure. There's a full fear on Colo. Whoopie managing to kite quite well in this matchup so far, just using the pillar the best he can. Smexen overextending a little bit, got into the Stormbolt now, taking a little bit of pressure, but Colo's there to keep him alive.
Right, Omnivore activating Sweeping Strikes. His attacks now hit multiple players standing next to each other, going for Blade Storm. Colo's going to have a rough time healing through this triple spread pressure from Omnivore. Now caught into a stun, dipping dangerously low. His team is split up. Will Colo be able to get back to his team in time? Catches a quick Riptide, trying to make his way over. Manages to reconnect that Spirit Link. Whoopie, in the meantime, getting bursted down. He's already burned half of his mana. They're constantly on top of him, and at this point, Super Rejects are getting ahead.
Yeah, Colo getting lower and lower, though. Omnivore, Rosita Jones also taking a lot of pressure. Good split damage coming in from Super Rejects right now. Everyone's rotting down. How is Whoopie going to respond? He's barely keeping himself alive, activating the Life Cocoon in a desperate situation. Colo activates the Spirit Link. Everyone from Super Rejects going to be very tanky. They shred through the Life Cocoon. Whoopie trinkets out. Darkness gets dropped. Beautiful fear coming in from Smexen to keep them all locked in place. Hex now onto Whoopie. Just can't heal himself up. Too much pressure from Smexen and Thugonomics. Does Cheap Torpedo away, but ultimately Thugonomics takes him down. Nice adaptation from Super Rejects with Resto Shaman. Seems to be very tanky in this matchup.
That was fun to watch.
Be true, actually. I think that's possible.
200-yard port.
Well, we know where the port's most likely going to go down here, so keep your eye on Whoopie. He is the reason that they have locked in this map. Will it be enough for him? Instantly, Ring of Peace going to be set down.
Yeah, knocks Colo off the edge. That was nicely done, but he's caught into the stun. A lot of pressure. Tank Trinket already going to be activating. You can see Smexen putting on a lot of pressure very early on. Now Rosita Jones getting rotted down, Omnivore as well. But what I want to see Super Rejects do is if Whoopie jumps off, just go on Rosita Jones. Go on Omnivore. Continue your pressure. Make the Mistweaver fall behind even more.
Yeah, definitely switching targets is quite effective. Whoopie using Way of the Crane. That's going to cost a lot of his mana, but he needs the extra damage to push Colo over with this Spirit Link talent. Everybody's stunned up by Whoopie. Unfortunately, it was DR'd, so a bit of a mistake there. Now they can freely go after the Mistweaver. They've got him locked down in a stun. Smexen charging over, jumping into battle stance. Whoopie getting into position to use that portal. Baits them as far away as possible, but Colo's right on top of his port. Windshears his heal, goes for a Hex, gets stopped though by Whoopie. Whoopie now ducking downstairs again, but Thugonomics just waited there. Smexen chased him down. Whoopie on the run, using the map quite effectively, but Thugonomics will reconnect. Looks like Smexen is the one that's having a hard time though with Blade's Edge.
Yeah, Whoopie didn't get a chance to relay his port. port. Colo interrupted him. Whoopi panicked. He jumped down once again. So we have to look for Whoopi to drop his port up top if he wants to use that Z access to his advantage. Now it caught into the stun. A lot of pressure out. Omnivore rotting down as well. Thugonomics taking some pressure. Cole having to top him off. Whoopi jumps down. Still didn't relay the port. So if they can get on top of him, it's going to be difficult for him to get away.
I mean, not even just Whoopi. Look at his entire team at this point. Anybody could just get swapped to and bonked and they're dead. Like, this is so difficult for Whoopi. If he pulls this off, he's actually a legend. I feel like he's so disadvantaged in this specific setup. He gets interrupted on a heal. It's going to put him even more behind. He gets incapacitated at low health. As Smexon can't get in line of sight. He does. He charges. Whoopi portals to charge instantly. Gets out of line of sight, but Thugonomics in hot pursuit. Smexon going to be leaping right back on top of him. G-Torpedo, will Whoopi be able to get away? I don't even know if it matters. His mana is just so far behind. He's maybe got one more wave of
Nice.
Nice Ring of Peace, knocking off the enemy team and allowing Whoopi to recover. But Kolos had good positioning, always on top of Whoopi. If his team gets kited, Kolos is there to interrupt. Omni's dipping low. Everybody's dipping low. And at this point, Super Rejects can just walk away with this.
Yeah, Whoopi really struggling in this situation. It's so difficult. Thugonomics might be able to take him down with this spell eruption. Ultimately does. Cole manages to keep his team alive. This is so difficult for Whoopi. He played that really, really beautifully, really, really well. But one of the things about Colo is he plays so many different healers. I feel like he knows how to make the other healer's life, basically a living hell.
This is a big composition change, and it's not just for fun. They're going to try to keep their tournament dreams alive. Will it be enough?
Yeah, it looks like Rosita Jones, Omnivore, they're going to be charging to center field. Smexon looking for a full fear immediately on Whoopi. Rosita Jones seems to be the target of choice. Colo pushing in as well. He wants to get aggressive with his team using the Spirit Link talent once again. I'm not sure Whoopi. I think he's just playing the regular Earth Shield in this matchup. So a little bit of talent differences between Colo and Whoopi.
All right, Thugonomics setting a swap going over onto Whoopi as Smexon is just chopping up both Rosita and Omnivore, trying to maximize that sweeping strikes. Colo is moving in. It looks like they're just going to go all in on Whoopi again, even on the Shaman. Rosita trying to reverse the pressure now onto Colo. This could easily be a healer race.
Yeah, it could, but I think Colo comes out ahead with that Spirit Link talent and that Astral Shift. He just needs to make sure he can keep Spirit Link on all three members, but he's been doing a great job of that so far. Stormbolt on Thugonomics, taking a little bit of pressure. Omnivore getting rotted down. That's the problem for Whoopi. Anytime he runs away, Demon Hunter and Warrior just has so much pressure. They're rotting down everyone with their damage. But so far, actually, For Fun has a lot of pressure on his Super Rejects.
Yeah, Whoopi staying ahead on mana. I don't think he is running the Spirit Link talent, so he's not going to be burning all that mana throughout this game. He's trying to duck for cover behind the pillar. That tank trinket proccing a huge absorb. Full fear landed on the entire team with no trinket. This is an opportunity, but Omnivore gets disarmed at low health. He can't activate Die by the Sword while disarmed and was forced to trinket to activate that defensive to stay in the fight. Now he is a huge open target for Super Rejects.
Yeah, Stormbolt on Colo. He could be in a little trouble as well. Smexon and Thugonomics not there to support Whoopi tanking through this damage. Colo getting lower and lower. He needs to activate that Spirit Link onto all three members. I think he manages to find it there. Disarm onto Smexon now to slow him down. No trinket available to get out of that. Whoopi running for his life, but so far Omnivore and Rosita Jones have been doing a great job to support him.
Yeah, I mean, Colo is burning down what is left of his mana if Whoopi can stay in this, but with the full fear and no tremor from Rosita, I guess he was out of range. He drops it a couple seconds too late, but it manages to sneak in a Hex with a Stormbolt on Smexon. Good cross-crowd control by For Fun. If there was a game that they could win, this is definitely it.
Yeah, Trinket procs on Smexon. Still has to Die by the Sword, but he's low. Can't reconnect to Whoopi. Thugonomics trying to create some pressure. Smexon just has to turn his attention to Rosita Jones and Omnivore. Needs to make sure he continues his damage. Continues to rot everyone down. Now full stun over onto Whoopi. Can't get the heals out that he needs. Colo's mana not looking great. Like you said, Whoopi has a huge advantage in that regard.
Yeah, and it's the Spirit Link choice. I don't think Colo should actually be playing Spirit Link in the Shaman mirror. If the other Shaman isn't running it, you're just going to lose on mana. They're not really getting much aggression out of it. Whoopi is maximizing usage of that Ghost Wolf to get boosted speed and kite his opponents, as well as Rosita. He just moves around and supports Omnivore. We see Thugonomics bursting Whoopi low. Omnivore gets disarmed. He's dipping dangerously low. Will he go down? Drops the triple intimidating shout to give time for Whoopi to get out of the stun and start restabilizing him. In the meantime, Whoopi's still just getting gunned down by Thugonomics. He's just sticking to that target. Omnivore and Rosita, though, both connecting onto Colo, and he doesn't have much left to work with.
Doesn't have basically anything except that Astral Shift, which he uses, activates that, trying to make a final push here onto Whoopi. Whoopi activates his Astral Shift. Both Shamans going to be taking reduced damage because of that. Whoopi has to play a little bit of catch-up here. Still has the Spirit Link totem if he needs it to equalize everyone's HP on his team. But Colo is the one that seems to be in trouble as his mana is running out.
Yeah, I mean, Whoopi's still got Spirit Link totem. That's a huge cooldown he can trade trade out at any point in this game. Colo doesn't have that same luxury. Colo getting wind sheared. Rosita looking for a Hex. These Hexes from Rosita could just close the game out as well. He's looking for another one, trying to fake cast potential grounding totem. Gets a full Hex. Omnivore, though, has to leap away. He was just under too much pressure. That's unfortunate. Could not get any pressure out with that, but Spirit Link reapplied. Colo's entire team is dipping low. He's got Healing Tide in his back pocket to pick his team back up. That should be enough, and now suddenly, for fun, are on the back foot.
Yeah, Whoopi gets imprisoned there on his Ascendance. This is his major healing cooldown. He gets feared up as well. They're trying to shut it down. Nice wind shear coming in from Colo. Whoopi, unfortunately, still gets a lot of healing out. Super Rejects did a good job, but it just doesn't matter. The Riptide healing so strong from Whoopi. Everyone's full HP as he gets bursted down once again. He has the Trinket, he has the Spirit Link, so he's still relatively safe. Colo running on fumes at this point for mana. Activates the Spirit Link once again. I don't know how many more of those he really has left in this game, though.
Ooh, Omnivore caught into a Stormbolt at dangerously low health. Nice wind shear from Colo into a potential Hex, but there is Dispel potential. Rosita gets a Hex instead. Overlapped with the Fear. This is a big crowd control mistake by For Fun. If they had chained those together, they could have forced way more cooldowns. It's a bit unfortunate. Now Whoopi stunned, and Smexen is on target as well. They land a triple cap, but a triple cap in reverse. Whoopi dipping low. Tank Trinket proc. He's going to survive, and now the entire team of Super Rejects are rotting down. Colo's only got maybe another minute or two left in the tank of this game. Will he be able to handle it?
I'm not sure. Colo running out of time, running out of mana. Smexen low, Thugonomics low, everyone's low. They turn their attention over on Omnivore, trying to get some counter pressure. Ascendant spot by Colo, using that last little bit of mana to top his team off. Whoopi got into the Stormbolt. Still has a Spirit Link, though, and I feel like Super Rejects, they were looking for an all-in strategy, but didn't calculate for this tank trinket of Whoopi, which is just keeping him alive for such an extended period of time.
All right, Ascendance is now out of the way. Colo's got nothing left. If they don't get a kill on For Fun within the next minute, I think that Colo's entire team is about to die simultaneously. And Whoopi, he's dangerously low, but hanging out. Rosita's got defensives. He's going to trade. They need to get aggressive. They need to just cleave all three targets and finish the job. Thugonomics has got one more opportunity. He's going to pop Metamorphosis, try and lead the charge for his team. Gunning down Whoopi once again. Double Fear from Smexen. He leaps in. They need a kill. They need it here and now. Will they find it? No, the Tank Trinket shield is protecting Whoopi and keeping him going. Full Hex secured from Rosita. That's going to put Colo behind. Deciding not to Trinket. Wants to Trinket out of a stun. I guess he's going to find that crowd control more threat. Omnivore is falling behind. Omnivore is forced to leap away. Super Rejects are staying in this despite running on fumes.
Yeah, Omnivore almost went down there. Was in an execute range. Whoopi still getting lower and lower. What's happening to his HP? Gets a Spirit Link totem down to equalize his team's HP, but they kill that off quickly. Whoopi trying to kite away. Stormbolt on Smexen now. Thugonomics getting low as well. Cole has to play catch up. He's been able to stabilize his team for so long on such a little amount of mana. Triple Chaos Nova coming in from Thugonomics onto the entire team of For Fun. Whoopi has to play catch up here. He's on 50%. Everyone on his team's on 50% right now. Cole's doing an all right job, but now completely tapped on mana.
This has been an absolute SM Orc Fest this entire game. Everybody's been in trouble, and I don't know how much longer they're going to be able to keep it up. Smexen down below half, Thugonomics also down below half. Colo with Healing Tide in 10 more seconds. Can he buy enough time to make it to that point? I'm not entirely sure. With Dampening starting to ramp up, Whoopi's just been kiting and Ghost Wolf desperately trying to stay away from Smexen. Colo, though, is getting connected by Omnivore. Smexen's trying to peel him off. Nice Stormbolt, no Trinket. What's Whoopi going to do? Drops the Healing Tide right before he got stunned. If that stun was 1 second faster, Omnivore might just be dead right now. Colo now, on the other hand, is falling even more behind and somehow still going despite having 0 mana.
Yeah, Whoopi's Ascendance came back up as well, increasing his healing. Double Fear coming out from Smexen. No one's going to be able to tremor out of that. Omnivore all alone in this situation. Doesn't have to die by the sword for another 30 seconds. He leaps away. Full Hex on Whoopi into the cap stun. Nice CC from Colo, and that's going to close out this game, close out this series. Very nicely done by the Super Rejects.
Very well played by For Fun as well. It was really nice to see them kind of come up with this change. This was
like Rogue Mage, and yep, Gorecki, Rogue Mage Druid, the classic, as well as the Gosu crew playing Jungle Cleave. So WizK switching off that Shadow Priest for Feral Druid. Let's see how he can perform.
Jamilian invisibility right now, looking for some initial crowd control or damage. Goes for the Nova. Doesn't manage to pull Jelly Beans or WizK out just yet. Rosy's going to be patiently waiting in stealth. It seems to be Absurd is their target of choice. The Assassination Rogue going to be effective at taking down that Shaman. No, just going for the cheap shot for Jamilian to land that Polymorph. Fortunately, gets wind sheared. Not going to be able to land it. Rosy throws a full blind on Absurd. He trinkets out. They want to continue this aggression over onto Jamili. Temporal Shield's going to be used. Ironbark as well. Goes to Crew just needs to wait out those cooldowns and then get some serious burst out.
Yeah, most certainly. They make a swap to Roasties. Nice play from the Gosu crew, seeing Gorecki committed his defense to Jamili. They switch targets and go after a softer one. huge burst on Roasties. Gorecki had to split his healing up and spend a bit more mana than he otherwise would have. Roasty still getting trained down below half HP. You see Gorecki caught in a bash. Can Jellybeans snipe out the trap? We saw SSDs earlier on getting a lot of traps. Now Jellybeans doing the same. Gorecki trinkets out. He's going to get aggressive, dashing into the fight for a stun on Absterge, looking for follow-up. They managed to soak the interrupt on Jamili, so Gorecki casted Cyclone at the same time. That way they were guaranteed crowd control on Absterge. They got the crowd control, but they don't do any damage, and Jamili is the one on the back foot having to ice block. That's devastation for the rejects.
Yeah, WizK has a lot of off healing. We see the Exhilaration as well as a tank trinket for Jellybeans. That's why he's able to tank through all of that damage while Absterge was in crowd control. Jamili, in the meantime, like you said, had to use the ice block. Just use the Cold Snap. Has one more ice block available, but after that, he's going to be very squishy. I don't think he's using the tank trinket, so he is an excellent target for the Gosu crew to go after in this matchup.
I mean, the only disadvantage right now for the Gosu crew is Absterge's mana bar already below 50%, but their momentum has been absolutely insane with both Jamili and Roasties hovering at about 50% HP. Gorecki seems to be struggling just to heal through the raw pressure of this composition, let alone when he's caught into a freezing trap. The next freezing trap could even end the game. Roasties has no significant defensives to survive an attack. Gorecki charging in, trying to get something started for his team, stunning up Absterge. Jamili blinks in, both members casting crowd control, but they didn't stop their casts, and they both overlapped. That's a huge crowd control overlap from the rejects. Now Jellybeans is starting to get aggressive, securing a freezing trap. Okay, WizK. Okay, WizK. Calm down. Calm down. Jamili's almost dead. Calm down, WizK. But next freezing trap, this game could easily be over.
Yeah, no ice block available for quite some time. 4 minutes on that timer. Jamili going to be very vulnerable here. Roasty's rotting down as well. Iron Bark available for Gorecki. There's a full blind on Absterge. He's opting to actually sit this one. Trinket's out a little bit late. Wants to keep WizK alive after the kidney shot was committed by Roasties. He knows Absterge's not going to be able to get swapped to with the kidney shot onto WizK. There's a full polymorph, though, nicely done by Jamili and the rejects. Full trap, though, on Gorecki. Jamili's going to be in a lot of trouble here. Roasty's playing a solid defense, and he gets smoked by WizK in the meantime. Big burst coming in from the Gosu crew.
Oh, that's a jungle.
Yeah, exactly.
Welcome to the jungle.
Yeah, welcome to the jungle.
This is
catching up with that big 200-point gap there.
Yeah, one thing that kind of disappoints me about the rejects too is they didn't really utilize all the tools available to them. With the Dwarf, it's going to be a lot more tankiness. You can actually remove all of the bleeds from Jellybeans and WizK in the matchup. So the rejects had, maybe changed up just the races that they were playing. Could give them a big advantage in the matchup.
They're trying to catch Gorecki off guard by starting their initial attack on him. It seems like he was ready for it. He's not dipping too dangerously low from this initial attack. Trading Barkskin is perfectly fine for the cooldowns that the Gosu crew have already committed. So good presence of mind of Gorecki, not really falling too far behind. Jamili has decided to activate Incarnation almost kind of randomly. Nobody in his line of sight. He's going to have to go after Jellybeans, trying to pick him off. Absterge's already used his trinket, likely on blind from Roasty. So I would like to see Roasties switch to Absterge. Shadow Step, kidney shot. Absterge has no trinket, 100 OM with Vendetta. If Roasties doesn't see that opening, I feel like it's a big opportunity that he's going to miss.
Yeah, Absterge's doing a good job just line of sighting, though, with WizK in the Cyclone. Jamili doesn't really have a target that he can hit. Jellybeans, WizK going to be moving up. There's a kidney shot on WizK. Nice CC coming from Jamili. You can see him dashing across the map, trying to land the bash onto Absterge. Can he get the Cyclone? Manages to get it. Now WizK could be in some trouble, trying to kite away with the Thorns, with the Earth Shield, trying to stabilize, but it just doesn't seem like the rejects have the damage they need to take Jellybeans or WizK down.
I mean, the other thing is, as Survival Hunter, you have Mending Bandage, which removes bleeds, and what is an Assassination Rogue? It's all bleeds, so you can just delete Roasty's damage from the game when you use that Mending Bandage. I don't think the Assassination is the best pick here. I almost want to see Roasty's play Outlaw instead if we move into another game. The Survival's just a soft counter. There's the swap onto Absterge, but they didn't save Vendetta for it. Absterge could be just deleted right now. He dipped really low there. If they just held Vendetta for that, I almost think Absterge was just gone.
Yeah, Roasties did commit his Vanish there as well. They could pick the road on Absterge. He got cloned, so maybe a little bit of a miscommunication there from the rejects. But they do have good pressure. Jellybean's rotting down. Still has the aspect of the turtle. Gorecki actually taking a lot of pressure from WizK right now as they seem to turn their attention onto him. He's trying to get away. There's a kidney shot on WizK. Roasty's doing a good job peeling, putting on a lot of pressure. Absterge in a good spot, though. Good position. Keep his team alive. Earthen Shield Totem's going to be dropped. Just going to line of sight. Try to get a reset here. Top everyone off, and then they can make their move once again.
It just seems like the Gosu crew are more prepared for this tournament than the rejects. I want to see them clean it up. Get that trinket on blind, then go for the Vendetta swap. That's definitely an easy win condition for the rejects. You want to go go after the targets that don't have trinkets. So right now, going after WizK, that's a good target. He doesn't have a trinket. Good crowd control from Jamili. This is a nice setup from the rejects. They need to back it up with damage, but unfortunately, Jellybean slowed it down enough for WizK to survive that chain quite easily. Now that they've slowed it down, they're trying to switch their attention to Gorecki. They need to be a little bit careful. Jellybean's taking a brunt of that exchange from Jamili, but the tank trinket absorb going to be more than enough for him to survive. Roasty's falling slightly behind. Mana completely in favor of the Gosu crew, so moving into the late game, they've got the advantage. It's up to Roasties to find that avenue of victory. If they don't do that, they're going to lose the attrition war.
Yeah, they need to pull some cooldowns out from Absurge. Managed to do so, and Roasties has the Vendetta coming up. Jamili has his Incarnation coming up, so that's an opportunity for the rejects to take advantage of the fact that Absurge already used that healing cooldown to top off his team. Jamili throwing out some regrowth. That's some of the additional support that a Boomkin has. He has the Cyclones as well as some off healing that the mage doesn't really provide, being able to stabilize, but Gorecki in a lot of trouble. He actually trinkets out, still taking quite a bit of burst from Jellybeans and WizK. He's trying to get away right now. Roasty's all over WizK and Jellybeans as they do line of sight Absurge a little bit. Nice Cyclones coming in from Jamili as well. There's a bash over onto Absurge. Roasty could be in some trouble. Jamili rotting down as well. Good pressure coming in from the rejects.
Okay, no trinket on Absurge, no trinket on WizK. Vendetta is available. It's either a Shadow Step, Kidney, Absurge, kill him 100-0 with the clone on WizK. There's the clone. Are they going to swap? No, they're not going to do anything with the clone, and that's going to put them a bit behind. They're going after Jellybeans, who has Trinket and Turtle. Going after Jellybeans in this position, not the right move unless they're trying to bait a cooldown. They've managed to bait Earthshield on him, which could leave an opening. I really just want to see a Shadow Step Kidney and delete Absurge. I feel like that's their easiest way to victory in this position. Now we see a Shadow Step back, trying to eat the trap potentially there on Gorecki, but not able to get there in time. They're still going after Jellybeans, which now I guess is a viable target with no Trinket, but Roasties needs to do something quick. Gorecki's almost tapped on mana.
Yeah, they need to make something happen. Like you said, Jellybean's taking a little bit of pressure. He's all over WizK, though. Roasty's going to be vanishing out. Gets flared out there by Jellybeans. Nicely done. Jamili lines full Cyclone on Absurge. This is the final go, potentially onto Jellybeans. Roasty still hasn't committed to Vendetta, though, so he's been holding on to that cooldown for quite some time. Maybe looking for that swap over on Absurge at some point. Gorecki gets trapped up. Pre-Ironbark, though. Nicely done by him onto Roasties, keeping him alive. Kitty shot on WizK. WizK taking a whole bunch of burst from Jamili and Roasties. Capstun on Gorecki as Roasty gets lower and lower. Doesn't really have too much. Feint comes out to reduce some of the incoming damage. Gorecki finally out of crowd control. It'll pick up Roasty's very, very quickly.
Ducking behind the pillar as the rejects are trying to retreat away. Absurge is trying to push forward and end this, but he does get cycloned up. Good play from Jamili. Jellybean's tank trinket going to be proccing. He's just going all in on Gorecki. They're attacking into Thorns. That's a double-edged sword. You attack into that, you also take some damage back, and that's kind of risky when you're already so low, but Mending Bandage going to remove all those bleeds, make it difficult for Roasties to ramp his damage. He's also very low on energy. He's not going to be able to ramp at all. This is going to put his momentum way down and allow them to play so aggressively. Absurge standing right on top of Gorecki, maybe even potentially purging in what could be the final moments of this game. Full blind, Absurge trinkets. WizK gets stunned up, but he pre-survival instincts. That was going to reduce a lot of damage on the stun. Will it be enough? Tank trinket absorb also going to soften the blows. Suddenly, Absurge's aggressive plays, though, have put him behind on mana. We've just started into dampening, and both teams are tapped.
Yeah, Gorecki has no trinket. Luckily, Roasty still has the evasion available if he needs it. Absurge actually sitting down to drink. This is so huge in the matchup. Jamili shuts it down, but Absurge got a decent amount of mana there. Now actually ahead of Gorecki in this match. Dampening at 6%. Absurge going to be dropping that Earthen Shield Totem to reduce some of this damage from Jamili and Roasties. Roasty's still an excellent target here for the Gosu crew. Gorecki getting fully trapped up. Roasty's just, look at him. He's just running away, trying to avoid the damage. Uses the feint. Nicely done on that stun. That's going to be a 30% damage reduction for him, but they don't care. They're going through it. Kidney shot now on WizK, though. Full Cyclone onto Absurge. The reject looking to turn around the pressure onto WizK. Can he survive? The tank trinket is going to proc. Gets a heal on himself as well, and he manages to stabilize.
That's perfect to get the absorb right there. They have an opening. There's no trinkets on anyone on Gosu crew. That's great win condition for the rejects. WizK has no cooldowns either to trade. They've got great momentum, and suddenly this game is completely in favor of the rejects, and they might just be able to walk away with it despite being behind for the better part of 5 minutes. Jellybean's cloned at low health. That's going to stress Absurge. He's got Ascendance up. That's his big healing cooldown. He wants to heal, but he can't into the Cyclone. WizK caught in the kidney shot. Vendetta available. Roasty's going to pull the trigger right away. They've got a massive win condition, but no crowd control on Absurge. Absurge denies the Cyclone. Great interrupt there from Absurge. That Cyclone could have closed the game, but he had the presence of mind to make sure that he interrupted it so he could keep WizK alive during that stun lock.
Yeah, they make a swap on Gorecki. He uses the bark skin, uses the dash. He is gone. Run, kitty, run. Jellybean's still stuck there, though. Roasty's all over him on that assassination rogue, putting out tons of consistent damage. Jamili looking for some crowd control onto Absurd, but just snared out of line of sight, unfortunately. WizK, Jellybeans all rotting down right now. Absurd really doesn't have too much. Trinket's going to be coming up in around 5 seconds. Still has a Spirit Link totem, so that is a saving grace for the Gosu crew as we move deeper and deeper into Dampening.
All right, another kidney shot on WizK. This is a very scary moment for the team of the Gosu crews. Absurd just trying to stabilize, doing a good job trading that earthen wall totem that will allow him to recover through the stun lock. Roasty's now on the back foot, potentially having to trade his trinket as Gorecki is almost completely tapped. I can't even see a sliver of blue on that bar below his health. Everybody rotting down as Dampening starts to mount up and up. I'm starting to think that there might be cross-kill potential in this game.
Yeah, it definitely could be. Roasty still has the Vanish and the Evasion, so that's going to make him durable. Putting out good pressure on the Absurge now. Looks like the Rejects changing their strategy, just trying to rot everyone down with the Assassination Rogue and the Boomkin. Can be very effective. Gorecki looking for a bash on Absurge. Does he have the follow-up clone? Goes for it. Fortunately, doesn't manage to find it, so Absurge gets out of the CC, able to stabilize his team. Tank Trinket proccing for both WizK and Jellybeans here. Now Roasties could be in some trouble. No Evasion's going to be available. WizK unfortunately doesn't have that incarnation for quite some time, but at Dampening this high, Gorecki's so low on mana, it is so scary for the Rejects.
If you don't know what a cross kill means, it means when one player on each team dies at the same time and it goes down to 2 players versus 2 players, sometimes even 1 player versus 1 player. It's a very rare occasion and quite an interesting thing to watch, and this is a game that definitely has that potential with both healers completely tapped on mana, defensive cooldowns starting to drain, a full trap secured, but Absurge is low. Both teams could be in danger in this position. Jellybeans is trying to soften up the damage on himself and gun down for Roasties. Good crowd control on Gorecki. Roasties is forced to trinket. Now that is out of the way. The only person left in this game with a trinket is Jamili, but he's not even the target. Roasties is falling more behind. Defensive blind on WizK to buy time for Roasties to live. Everyone in crowd control. Roasties hangs on by a thread.
They need to hold on just a little bit longer. Gorecki has the Iron Bark. He needs to be more tanky. They take him down right before it comes available for Gorecki. The Gosu crew goes up 2-0 in this series with some nice plays.
My goodness, and that one's going to look 3-0.
Curious if Jamili is going to play Typhoon on this map. It's a knockback effect that could be super effective, or where they're going to play it out. I mean, we can already see this map is massive. There's multiple different areas to play. You can play at the big pillar down in the middle, play in the starting rooms, or play up on this balcony. And it seems like the fight is going to be starting at the top of the staircase.
Yeah, Gorecki taking position up top, like you said. He's going to be jumping down, though, just trying to kite away from this initial pressure coming in from Jellybeans and WizK. WizK trying to chase him down. Nice Typhoon, though, coming in, or Vortex coming in from Jamili there, allowing Gorecki a little bit more time to run away, but he's all by himself now. WizK and Jellybeans all over him, doing so much damage, forcing out the Bark Skin and the Iron Bark onto Gorecki, now caught into the full bash. With all that Iron Bark, I don't think he's going to have to trinket, but he's falling behind quickly.
I mean, when you're up 2 points in the series, you can always do an all-in strategy and try and just squeak out an early kill and walk away with the rest of it. I don't blame them for taking a risky option like this, and now they're going to mix it up, and that's the one thing about the Gosu crew is that they never stick to one strategy for too long. They always keep their opponents on their toes. They started with all-out aggression on Gorecki, now they're crowd controlling him and going after a different target. After that's over, they switch back to him, and they're really keeping him on his toes. This is going to be tough for Gorecki.
Yeah, Gorecki getting lower and lower. Absurge's there to throw out some purges, tries to get out of line of sight. WizK there, Jellybeans there, and those are the fights we are talking about. WizK coming in clutch there. That's the damage we want to see from a
Priest. Is the first time we're going to see him on Restoration Druid. I feel like Casca would have been a better pick than going on an alt healer overall. Resto Druid is powerful though into Moonkins. It obviously can't be root solar beams because they can shapeshift out of roots and avoid that silence, so they're probably going off the back of that. But at the same time, they have a hunter who can use freedom to get their healer out of that, so it seems odd. They're actually going to do an all-in strategy on Sidu. Sidu is playing Adaptation, which is really good at getting rid of freezing traps, not so good at dealing with stuns and being tunneled down, so this is an adaptation by Casca's Angels based on that trinket choice.
Yeah, here's one of the things about Trill. We talked about how good he is at PvE. He does monstrous damage on that Demon Hunter. Sidu's actually going to be playing the Spirit Link talent, so he's going to be syncing up his entire team's HP here, going to be tanking throughout the entire game, so Dillipu and Cyfox are going to have to do an excellent job working around that. Sidu manages to top himself off. Dillipu rotting down a little bit. Milkman's been able to stabilize his team for now, but Dilly needs to make sure he's not running around the pillar too often, or he's going to be taking a lot of damage out of line of sight.
Casca's Angels, they've got the right strap up. Milkman gets swapped too, bursted down. Trinket has been forced. He's still maybe in a bit of trouble as Trill is just gunning him down. How is Milkman going to handle this? This is his first time we've seen him on a Resto Druid, and Trill is putting him to the test. Huge amounts of damage. Milkman just getting shredded.
Yeah, imprisonment going to be used on the Milkman as all 3 members move on top of him. Does Sea-Doo have the dispels to take him down? Milkman, he just gets the bark skin back up. There's a full bash on Milkman. No trinket available. Can Trill and Sam take him down. They get caught in the stun. Huge healing coming in from Foxy to support Milkman and keep him alive.
Yeah, and he will survive. A very close call, though, to say the least. And I like Casca's Angel strategy. They see Spirit Link and they see Adaptation, so they're never going to trap Sea-Doo. Just keep stunning him, bursting down, and trying to rock the whole team and run Sea-Doo out of mana. That's the win condition for Casca's Angels with the strategy that Method Orange are trying to employ. Method Orange, on the other hand, I think are the ones more on the clock so long as Milkman manages his mana effectively. They kind of have to set up these swaps. Right now, they've got a good opportunity. Nobody has trinkets on Casca's Angels, which means if they get multiple crowd controls, they can't get out of them, and they're more likely to be able to kill them inside of it. We see Sea-Doo caught into a stun. This is an opportunity for Casca's Angels to start building up momentum, and they are doing their best. Sea-Doo drops Earth and Shield. That's going to deflect the attack. Now it's up to Method Orange to get aggressive.
Yeah, Dilicu's pet's dead. He has to res it, but Trill and Samai have been doing a good job interrupting it. Finally gets that revived pet off. You're going to have that available to join him and support his team a little bit more. Samai, I'm taking some pressure here, but you know, Sea-Doo, he has so many defensive cooldowns still left, syncs up everyone's HP with that Spirit Link. In terms of mana, Sea-Doo's actually ahead. Normally see the Spirit Link Shamans run out of mana relatively fast, but Milkman's been falling so far behind. Sam and Trill able to put out a lot of pressure here. Double Chaos Nova coming in. Foxy getting bursted down a little bit. Iron Bark going to be committed by Milkman. That's enough to keep him alive, but Method Orange slowly whittling through these defensives.
And I mean, we pointed it out before the series started. Trill is top of the game in MDI, top of the game in raiding, top of the game in arena. You can just tell that he's top of the game in damage because Milkman's just getting shredded the whole entire match, and that's going to be the benefit for the team of Method Orange, that Trill is just such an MVP across all aspects of the game. It's really carrying, and that's why they even have a mana lead, is just that huge boost of damage for Trill.
Yeah, Trill, he's been using that rain from above. You see him fly up in the sky. He basically becomes a turret, can spam out Chaos Bolts on everybody. Normally, we don't see Demon Hunters using that for damage, but he's not afraid. He just leaps up in the air, spams those Chaos Bolts onto everybody, putting out big pressure for his team.
See another stun on Milkman. He trinkets. A bit of a panic trinket. I'm not sure if it was really required there. That wasn't a lot of cooldowns from Trill. I guess Sam did activate Incarnation, trying to respect that cooldown at least. Sea-Doo now getting pressured as Dilly and Foxy are trying to lead the charge. Great Cyclone by Milkman at low health on Sam, trying to get a follow-up. Doesn't want to risk any interrupted though. Sea-Doo moved up to back up that and interrupt it. Now Dilly in a bit of trouble dipping low, trades out Exhilaration for a big heal. Milkman's mana is the story of this game because we're not even in Dampening, and it's a Resto Druid. He's almost doomed. That almost never happens. So Casca's Angels, they need to get something done now.
Yeah, every time Trill does damage, he slightly heals himself as well. I think he's actually playing the Demonic build, I believe. So that really helps Sea-Doo with Spirit Linking everyone's HP together. Sam can heal himself up a little bit. Trill can heal himself up a little bit. Makes it much easier for Sea-Doo to heal with this damage. There's a bash on the Milkman. He activates the Bark Skin, making him tanky. A lot of pressure on the Sam in the meantime. So they look to get aggressive onto Milkman, but he seems to be okay. There's the Diamond Ice Trap onto Sam. Sea-Doo is doing a great job, though, keeping his team alive. Everyone seems to be just fine.
Yeah, I'm wondering if he's been holding off on using Spirit Link on cooldown and trying to wait till he thinks he's going to get crowd control, then popping it out, because that's the only thing that makes sense for his mana to be able to maintain so well. Trill is constantly jumping up into the air and avoiding the attacks of his opponents and still dishing damage back, trying to maximize both offense and defense in that sense. Activating I-Beam, he gets to go into Metamorphosis. This is a massive boost of damage. Trill can do devastating amounts of pressure with this, going all out on Foxy right now. He's going to proc that tank trinket absorb. He can just switch targets if he wants to, but he's just gunning him down. Now swapping over to Milkman, catching him in a stun with no bark skin for 5 seconds. It's a big opening to try and take Milkman down. 3 more seconds. Can he make it out alive? He's going to stun Trill. Pause out the damage, looking for a Cyclone. Sea-Doo trying to deny it. He does manage to do so. Great teamwork from Sea-Doo, breaking up that crowd control.
Yeah, Dilipu rotting down. Foxy as well. Milkman has to play catch up here. Sam seems to be taking some damage once again. He's the main focal point for Casca's Angels, trying to take him down. Foxy getting lower and lower, though. Still has both ticks of Survival Instincts. Going to be activating one of those. Going to be taking half damage while that's up. He has one more charge of that to reduce some of this damage. Big swap on a Milkman in the meantime. Arc's going to need to be used. Bash as well. Foxy throwing out the off heals. They need to cross the sea on the Foxy when they can, when they make those swaps on a Milkman, just because he provides so much healing and support to Milkman in those dire situations.
All right, this entangling root on Trill. Cyfoxy is likely running an honor talent that makes it undispellable, that makes all of your attacks miss. So if he can time that during Metamorphosis, as Trill has currently got activated, he can just remove that damage from the game. Cyfoxy's been doing a good job throughout, but I'd like to see it more so when his healer is stunned, because that's more likely to be, like right now, Milkman's in a stun, so if they root up Trill, take away that damage, they remove the threat entirely. Right now, Trill isn't getting rooted. Milkman doesn't have much to stay alive. Everybody on Method Orange are gunning him down for the kill. He's going to duck behind the corner, managed to pick himself back up, and now Sidu has gone into center field. He's exposed. Everybody out in the open. This is an opportunity for Casca's Angels if there ever was one.
Yeah, I like what Trill is doing. He's going after Milkman, getting the cooldowns he needs, and then immediately comes back to support, making sure Sidu can get that Spirit Link up, never overstaying his welcome, and I think it's really, really intelligent. Ivy now over on a Milkman. Cyfoxy in the meantime taking quite a bit of burst damage. Cyfoxy needs to hold on a little bit longer. He has the Incarnation coming up, but I don't think he has enough time. Milkman running out of mana. Method Orange playing that game beautifully, and I really like this composition that they brought.
I definitely do as well. You know, before we actually got into the arena, I said that weren't actually switching specs earlier in Legion. Look at the mages that were scared to play Arcane. You definitely need to be playing everything that your class has to offer. But let's see what happens here with the change that Casca's Angels have made.
Casca just chilling in the back line, waiting for Method Orange to push up before going out there. Casca playing Dwarf, trying to get full advantage by removing any sort of damage over time effects. We see Casca getting stunned. He is going to be the target for the team of Method Orange. I'm really looking for Mana Rift, just a purple circle that Trill can put on the ground. It doesn't look like he's playing it, or he would have otherwise used it on that first stun. So Casca doesn't seem like he's going to have to deal with mana burn effects. We see him caught into another Cap Totem stun as they switch their attention back to Cyfox.
Yeah, and Casca's actually not playing the Spirit Link. He's just going to be playing Spirit Link Totem and Earthen Shield, so it's going to be strong healing for him, but I don't know. I feel like they can make big swaps onto Casca. He's going to be vulnerable. Cyfoxy's going to be vulnerable if they can get the crowd control. Big stun now over onto Trill. They're putting out some decent pressure with that. Nicely done, but CD should be able to stabilize, and like I said, with this demonic build, every time Trill gets these attacks off, he's healing himself up, really helping CD chop himself off.
I mean, everything about Method Orange's composition and strategy is just almost completely untouchable. We see a swap to Casca. He deflects, pops Ascendance. That should allow him to bounce his entire team back. But again, going back to Method Orange, Spirit Link slows down damage. They have the Tank Trinket. If anything does happen, or someone panic gets bursted down, the Tank Trinket will save them. Then they've got the Sustain healing from the Demon Hunter and off healing from the Boomkin. Everything about the composition makes them just so durable that Casca's Angels can't win going head-to-head. They need crowd control, but they've got that even covered because Sidu's adaptation. So every minute, he gets out of a freezing trap for free. Trill has reverse magic. That's every minute. If you use those one after the other, freezing trap doesn't exist. So they've removed crowd control, they've removed burst, and they've removed sustain damage. Method Orange have the perfect composition.
Yeah, Trill's actually under a little bit of pressure. Had to Trinket out there. Dilly and Cyfoxy managed to find some damage. Earthen Shield Totem's going to be dropped off by Sidu. Everyone's going to be tanking it out. And with the Spirit Link talent and Earthen Shield, basically no one takes damage. The amount of damage you take is basically completely nullified with those two abilities. Cyfoxy now under fire. No survival instincts left for him as well, so he is vulnerable. Casca doesn't have a trinket for another couple seconds. He gets stunned. Trill making a swap over onto him, just trying to rot down all three members of Casca's Angels. But Trill in this game is much more pressured. I think Casca's Angels is doing a better job with their target choice.
I mean, it's all kind of an illusion. As soon as he uses that I-beam, he's going to heal himself. There's the I-beam. Now he's got all that leech healing as soon as he gets back onto a target, so he's going to be going back to full health quite rapidly. Casca's doing a good job on his mana, trying to maintain it, but it doesn't look like he's playing Spirit Link either, so he's expected to have the mana advantage. Dilly, in the meantime, got bursted down. That was his Tank Trinket proccing. They switched targets. I like the swapping during that absorb. Trying to put Casca on the back foot. Nice double stun. Triple crowd control for Method Orange. Really putting it to him. Casca's Angels have a lot of work to try and recover through this burst with two members down to half. Casca gets out, tosses out a couple Riptides, bouncing back quite effectively. Now it looks like they are starting to mount some form of offense here with Sidu rotting down and triggering his tank absorb proc. Shaman rotting down as well. Casca's Angels doing whatever they can. I like this Diamond Ice trap from Dilly. He knows that with reverse and adaptation, that freezing trap would get removed out of the game, so he's got an honor talent that changes freezing trap into Diamond Ice trap, which can't be dispelled, and it's a shorter duration. So it was a nice adaptation from Dilly. I just don't know if it's long enough to actually kill anything.
And I think it was definitely smart. Like you said, it's basically completely nullified with the adaptation and the reverse magic, so definitely smart. Cyfoxy taking the pressure. Big swap now over on a Casca. Still has the trinket and the link, though, so these swaps, although very, very scary, Casca can keep himself alive if he responds accordingly with his defensives. Cyfoxy getting swapped to Tank Trinket's going to be proc there. Dilly Poo rotting down as well. Casca has a little bit of work to top off his team. You can see Incarnation used by Samayam. Full root beam onto onto Casca. Nicely done by Dilly, getting him out of that with that Master's Call as Pat coming out and giving him freedom, removing that silence. But he gets wind sheared. Dilly might have to go into the aspect of the turtle here. He tries to kite away by Casca some time. Easily tops him off.
I mean, this game just looks so one-sided. Even though Method Orange's health is going down, it's going down at such a slow rate that they're not really ever in danger. Whereas Cyfoxy, look at him. He's in so much trouble right now. Casca had to trinket. Cyfoxy had to overlap, and these burst moments that Trill just keeps dishing out are eventually going to nail a kill. We're not even into Dampening, and Casca's struggling.
Yeah, Cyfoxy does have the Incarnation, so that is a tool that they have to really get some burst damage going. Sea-Doo doesn't have the adaptation available just yet, so they could try to take him down, but with that Spirit Link talent, he's just so tanky, it can be difficult. Trill now getting stunned up. Incarnation's going to be used. Can they take Trill down right now? He drops the darkness. He doesn't want to mess around. As long as he's in that purple cloud you can see on the screen, he's going to be taking reduced damage, basically immune to damage. So that's a very powerful defensive they were able to get out from Trill.
I don't even know if he really needed to use it. I mean, it was much so preemptive. That actually is an opening. I almost would say that's a mistake. Casca and a root beam. Dilly going to back him up. Master's Call, freedom Casca out of that silence. Good teamwork between Dilly and Casca, but now Trill following up with an Imprison. Casca can't heal inside of this. Cyfoxy dipping low, and he is going to be the kill target, I believe, with Windshear now secured by Sea-Doo onto Casca. Cyfoxy dipping lower and lower. So much trouble. Is he going to deal with this? Trill is just doing so much damage. I mean, how many hours on the World First Raid has he logged?
Whoa, 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 whoa.
And Samayam suddenly in trouble. Sea-Doo gets the Spirit Link reapplied. And I think it should be enough with the Earthen Shield Totem for his team to start recovering. But with Trill, he's literally had so much practice in playing all avenues of the game that he is at the pinnacle of DPS. I don't think any other Demon Hunter can do as much damage as him.
Well, yeah, he figures out what are the best Azurite traits, what are the best talents, and, you know, different things he can utilize with his gear in order to do optimal damage. And that's a big advantage you have playing all aspects of the game like you see Trill. But finally, Casca's Angel's getting a decent amount of pressure. Sea-Doo's mana being taxed quite a bit now, actually way behind compared to Casca, as we do reach 7% dampening in this matchup. Sea-Doo maybe looking for a drink here. You can see he has a Spirit Link up. He's out of line of sight. Potentially going for the drink. Tank Drink is going to proc for Trill, so he should be tanky enough to buy Sea-Doo some time, but unfortunately doesn't get to sit down for that drink. Now the Diamond Ice going to be used on the Sea-Doo, forcing that adaptation. Casca getting swapped to in the meantime. Trill trying to put out some pressure, but he falls back, keeping the damage up on Cyfoxy and Dilly.
This is the only weakness that I can see in Method Orange's comp is Sea-Doo's mana, and suddenly it's starting to get tapped quite rapidly. It was very high at the start of the game, but as it gets lower and lower, he won't be able to reapply that Spirit Link to his team, and as soon as it falls down, a big Ferocious Bite could just claim a kill, so they may need to try and look to end this as soon as possible. The late game isn't looking in their favor.
Yeah, Dilly taking some pressure right now. Still has the aspect of the turtle. Diamond Ice over onto Sea-Doo. They managed to find the CC, but no damage on the Samayam and Trill. In the meantime, though, Dilly taking quite a bit of burst. Might have to activate that aspect of the turtle. He's trying to kite away, trying to play it greedy. Casca trying to keep him alive. It gets fully Cyclone, though. Dilly's all by himself. Finally activates that defensive. You can see that turtle shell around him. He's going to be immune to damage. Casca gets out of the crowd control, trying to find the healing. Samayam seems to be the pressure point for Method Orange. Gets silenced up. No Bark Skin available. Still has the renewal, though. But I feel like Casca's Angels is running out of time.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, with everyone down to 50%, Dampening starting to ramp up to 15% healing reduction, I'm not sure if Casca can really keep up with the heat that Trill is dishing out. Triple stun from Trill, really leading the charge. Dilly doesn't have much. He's trying to run away, but Trill's in hot pursuit. Cyfoxy is also just rotting down. Sea-Doo pops Ascendance. That's going to bounce his entire team back to full HP very shortly, and they have all of the momentum. Casca has to buy time for another 34 seconds. If he can make it to that point, he will have the recovery mechanics to survive through this onslaught, but he needs to make it that far. 28 more seconds, and Method Orange are just tearing in.
There's the double stun. Cyfoxy getting low. Casca does have Trinket and Spirit Link available to keep his team alive at any moment. Nice double stun going out on the Samayam and Trill with the trap on the Sea-Doo. They get pressure down quite a bit. Hex now over on the Sea-Doo gets immediately dispelled. Nicely done by Samayam. Silence coming in a little bit too late by Dilly Poo. Samayam was able to dispel that. Dilly, in the meantime, taking quite a bit of damage. Incarnation used by Cyfoxy, trying to get pressure on all three members of Method Orange at 20% dampening. Sea-Doo's falling a little bit behind. So is Casca, though. How are these healers going to respond?
There's the Ascendance that Casca was waiting for. Now with that activated, his heals are going to be huge, but he gets caught in a stun. Has to Trinket Link. Nice stun from Trill, trying to slow down the healing. Casca's finally getting some healing surges. He needs more, but he gets cloned. This is a great shutdown by Method Orange. Now Cyfoxy is in trouble. Tank Trinket has proc. Samayam also at the same time, and this is looking to be like one of those games that could result in a cross kill. Sea-Doo is on the ropes. He's got no mana left, and he's going to be sweating for the rest of this game.
game. Yeah, it's going to be very difficult for him to keep his team alive. Stun now over on the Trill. No trinket available. Doesn't have the darkness either. Just trying to keep him up with the I-beam, with the demonic, with the self-healing. Just needs to keep the pressure up, stay on target, do as much damage as possible to really help Sea-Doo out in these final moments. Dilly-Koo rotting down low, though. Samurai able to get out a lot of bursts. Only over 27 seconds. Dilly-Koo all by himself behind the pillar, gets caught into the stun and taken down. Nicely done by Trill, realizing the situation. Dilly just overextended a little bit, got out of line of Casca and taken down.
And ultimately, the circle of life can be so cruel. We're going to see Dilly cut him. Could have been a very good option here, but it's all going to come down to this map. Can Casca's Angels extend this series, or is Method going to run away with it?
Yeah, Casca really needs your love. He has not been able to win a game yet this year in PvP tournaments. Not even one game. He needs it. He's the underdog. He's trying his best to carry his team. Normally, they've got Milkman and on Priest to do all of the heavy lifting, and Casca can kind of just chill, but it's really up to him to try and get a win here. Can he keep the game going long enough to run Sea-Doo out of mana on that clock, or is he going to choke and fall to the pressure?
There's still moments in this game where either team can find victory. It might not all come down to mana, but that's definitely a win condition for Casca's Angels if they can drag it on that long. Trill making a big swap now over on to Casca, caught into the fell eruption, gets taken down to 30%. Tank Trinket going to be proccing. He gets behind the pillar, tops himself off basically instantly. Sam I Am taking a little pressure now from Dilly and Cyfoxy. Seems like I said, in these last couple games, Sam I Am really has been that pressure point. But Sea-Doo's been able to keep him alive with the Spirit Link, you know, relatively safe. Now a lot of damage out on Cyfoxy and Dilly as well. Trill just all over the place on this Demon Hunter.
Yeah, I mean, he's got perfect targeting, perfect damage rotation. Everything is maximized on Trill. Aside from using his defensive cooldowns in situations where it may not 100% be necessary, his play has been immaculate. Dilly under fire, dipping below half. Casca doing his best to pick him back up, but getting wind sheared on that heal, proccing the absorb. Nice wind shear from Sea-Doo.
Yeah, Trill getting caught into the stun. He leaps away. Another swap over onto Casca. I-beam used. He's in the demon form. A lot of pressure on the Casca now. He gets out of line of sight. Able to heal himself up with the Riptide healing wave very, very quickly. In the meantime, though, Samurai has been rotting down Dilly, rotting down Cyfoxy. Root beam onto Casca. He gets out of it. He actually uses the stone form. So gets out of that root beam with the stone form. Dilly was caught in his stun, so couldn't really get that Master's Call. Nicely done. Good reactions by Casca. Keep his team alive.
I mean, the pressure right now for Casca's Angels is a lot higher than we've seen in any other game, with two members already at 30%. Sea-Doo trying to respond. Really get enough healing out in time here. It seems to be the case. He's holding on to dear life, because whatever happened, Dilly and Cyfoxy have stepped it up. Their damage is much higher. Cyfoxy now finally being counter-pressured on this push. Casca caught in a stun. Potentially more crowd control, but getting silenced by Dilly. Good silence there, breaking up the CC. Trill's trying to follow up with Imprison, but I don't think that Imprison is going to be long enough to net them a kill. Casca's going to bounce back, but with Ascendance burned on both sides, that's a big healing cooldown that neither Shaman can really fall back on.
Now, I really think Runes of Lordaeron backfired on Casca's Angels. Realizing it, this map is a lot better. Casca can easily get out of line of sight. Anytime Trill goes on him, he just dips behind the pillar, tops himself off. Trill has to get off him. That way, Casca is really not a target for Method Orange, unless they basically 100-0 him in a stun lock. So I think this map is working on a lot better than Runes of Lordaeron, where Casca doesn't really have as many places to run away.
And we see Method Orange, they're pinned down in the room, but I feel like Casca's Angels actually want a long game. That's their only win condition, really, is to run Sea-Doo out of mana. But in the meantime, good crowd control from Method Orange is putting Casca's Angels on the back foot with two members down to half health. Casca has a lot of work to recover. Doesn't have that Ascendance to bounce back with. He's still getting crowd controlled. Cyfoxy's trying to help out with some of the pressure. Now they're switching their attention to Casca, swapping all over the place. And Casca's doing a good job despite all of this insane damage from Trill.
Yeah, healing waves coming in. Interrupt over on Sea-Doo. Sam I Am still rotting down lower. Has the bark skin. There's the bash on Sea-Doo. Sam I Am has to survive. This could be the darkness, could be the renewal. Opting not to use it. Sea-Doo keeping him alive with the Spirit Links and Riptides connecting as well. They still have some defensives to fall back on, but that's as good pressure coming in from Casca Angels in this game.
Trill getting bursted down suddenly out of nowhere. Sea-Doo trying to pick him back up very rapidly. Sea-Doo's already spent half his mana on Casca's Angels. That's their win condition. They just need to stay in this fight a little bit longer and not get caught off guard. So let's think about the threats here from Method Orange. Sam I Am has Incarnation. That's a big boost of damage. Casca needs to use Healing Tide Totem to counteract that, which he has available. But if he's silenced, he can't. So he's going to use Stone Form, get out of the silence, and get ready, because here's the Incarnation. Star Surges are flying. Trill's moving in for a kill on Cyfoxy. He's going to deflect with Survival Instincts that reduces damage on himself and allows him to stay aggressive, forcing Sam I Am dangerously low. So you're trying to pick him up as both Shamans are mirroring their cooldowns. Both Healing Tides used at the exact same second. second. Mana starting to even out, though, and Casca's Angels are losing that advantage.
Yeah, the setup method Orange has been going for has been the double Chaos Nova into the root beam. Dilly trinketed out of the last one with the Master's Call. Sam getting low. Still has the Bark Skin, but finally going to be using that to reduce some of this incoming damage. That was a close call there. Dilly Poo doesn't want to overextend in this room for too long. Method Orange is trying to drag Dilly Poo and Foxy out of line of sight, really reducing that line of sight advantage that Casca had when they were playing center field.
All right, Dilly trying to revive Pet as it ultimately did go down to some of the cleave damage. Foxy just off healing, knowing that mana is the name of the game. He wants to output a little bit of healing to at least save the mana of Casca as long as possible. Trill, though, now has a huge threat with Metamorphosis pop, double stun, silence, wombo combo from Method Orange. Good backup from Dilly getting Casca out of that crowd control, but he's still quite far behind. He's got a lot of damage to deal with, and he's in crowd control. He can't get heals going. Foxy in trouble. Lower and lower. Will he be able to stay alive? It looks like it will be the case as Casca trades out his trinkets. Although getting cloned, great crowd control from Method Orange. They looking to close. This is match point. Foxy in a lot of trouble. Drill is closing in. There's so much damage. Cedar looks for a Hex. He catches it, but Casca got the Spirit Link totem off a second before it landed, and he is just so happy right now. Smiley face for that Ascendance that just became available, because that's going to bounce his entire team back to full.
Yeah, but he used basically everything to keep his team alive. Cedar falling behind, though. Mana not looking so good for Method Orange. Sam rotting down as well. Good pressure from Casca's Angels, but like I said, net exchange, Casca basically used everything they had to keep his team alive. No trinket, no link, no nothing really for them. Method Orange actually stabilizes here. A lot of damage coming in from Dilly and Foxy, but Cedar's been doing a good job healing through it. Now a swap over on the Trill. He trinkets out, wants to avoid some of this damage with the Blade Dances. With the Eye Beam eventually, going to be using that to get into Metamorphosis to increase the healing that he's going to be doing. Doesn't have the Demon form available for quite some time, so that's a lot of burst potential lost. Imprisonment on a Casca. Foxy, Survival Instinct is going to be used. There's a Hex on a Casca. It's going to be no Dispel available. Foxy gets taken down. Method Orange with Immaculate CC there at the end, and is going to win the series 3-0.
They're so close. Look at Cedar's mana. They were so close.
But ultimately, that's going to be another team.
Double Druid versus double Shaman. Jamilian not going to be playing that Mage. It would be very annoying against double Shaman with double Grounding, double Wind Shear, so I don't really blame him for wanting to go on the Boomkin instead in this specific matchup. Roasties and the team of Rejects get a great start to this fight, already getting Barkskin from Envious with triple crowd control.
Yeah, nice sap on Colo by Roasties. That allowed them to get that Barskin, like you said, now full blind on Colo. He trinkets out of that. But look at these Cyclones coming in, both Envious and Smexen getting Cycloned up. That is the power of playing that double Resto Druid we see from the Rejects.
Smexen is playing a Panda. That is a very powerful Panda, just smacking Roasties right now. He gets some extra versatility. He also gets Incapacitate, so he can basically do an Incap into a Cap Totem crowd control chain by himself. We don't normally see Pandas because Orc and Human were so powerful in Legion, but their ratios were nerfed, and we are going to start to see a lot of other races utilize. I'm curious to see how Smexen is going to do it with the Panda.
Oh, well, that versatility stat, like you said, going to be providing a little bit more defense, but also a lot of extra damage for these characters that do opt into that Panda racial. So not that necessarily a bad option there for Smexen. Looks like he's going to be going over onto Jamili, trying to do some damage. Barskin's going to be used. Bareki has to play catch-up. There's a Cyclone on Jamili. This is good pressure for the Super Rejects. Kidney Shot now over on Colo. Roasty's trying to create some pressure. You know, in Legion, the Assassination Rogue on that Resto Shaman was devastating. It could be that same story in BFA.
All right, this is decent damage coming out from Envious there at the back of that Incarnation. They managed to get multiple defensive cooldowns. Jamili is an open target. He's got no bash. That's a lot of damage. Smexen is dishing out. That is no Panda to mess with. Jamili trying to run away, gets cloned at low health. Bareki in a hard position. He has to avoid crowd control and heal Jamili at the same time. So instead, he's going to crowd control Colo, deny any crowd control on himself with that, and get his heals going. Finally, some pressure towards Envious. He is going to trade out the Barkskin. It doesn't look like Colo is playing the Spirit Link talent, so he is going to have the mana advantage already with a significant lead.
Yeah, look, he's barely running out of mana in this game in a very defensive position. We see that from Colo. Sometimes he likes to go super duper aggro. Sometimes he likes to just sit, play it safe, play far back, wait for that mana lead. And I think he makes those decisions quite well. Smexen moving over onto Jamili once again. Nice defensive clone coming in from Goreki to be slowing down some of that damage. Cyclone onto Roasties from Envious. With 3 Druids in this game, man, a lot of these players are spending a lot of time in Cyclone.
All right, Envious caught into a kidney shot. Nice shadow step kick. This is a great setup by the Rejects. If they're going to take a game, they need to take it now. Blind Colo trinkets. No punish potential for the trinket there. Colo gets out, stays in the fight. Now I would like to see a swap by Roasties. We saw this in the previous series. He can shadow step kidney shot a healer with no trinket, pop Vendetta, combo it with his team, and just burst him out of the water. So I really hope Roasties sees that opening right now and tries to take it. In the meantime, he's just pressuring Smexen, trying to buy some breathing room for Jamili.
Well, I really feel like if the Rejects plays it safe, they have the Root Beam onto Colo. Gorecki can move into position where you can get the Bash followed up by a Cyclone. Jamili and Roasties can really let it rip with the Incarnation as well as that Vendetta. If they line that up, they can definitely take down Envious in this situation. There's the Root Beam. Do they have the damage over onto Envious? Roastie's going to be trinketing out to make a swap onto Colo. Vendetta gets popped, a lot of damage, but look at Envious. He's just spamming out the regrowths, and he is the only reason why Colo's been alive this long, looking for a Cyclone. Manages to shut it down. See, Colo has his HP frozen by that Cyclone. I think the kill attempt has been lost at this point. Colo should be able to stabilize, but that was nice.
I mean, Envious is the only reason that Colo is alive right now, and that's kind of the advantage. Envious is normally a healer. He's a Holy Priest main. Holy Priest not strong right now. I don't think Envious is going to be even logging or made a Holy Priest to play, but he has the awareness to help his teammate when he is in trouble due to the fact that he also plays the healer role. So there's going to be great support between Colo and Envious, and their defense is going to be ironclad. Smexon still trying to build up some momentum, switching back to Roasties, trying to make Gorecki spend more mana healing multiple targets, which is a good move. It is likely that they're winning this game off mana in the late game.
Yep, Jamili getting low. Coming back, get the support of Gorecki. Kidney shot on Colo, though he's caught. Taking a lot of damage in this situation. Roasty still looks down to Vendetta for another minute, but you can see all three members of the Rejects rotting down, but Colo still has so much mana to work with in this matchup. Gorecki falling a little bit farther behind, but we have not even reached Dampening yet. He's already around 70% mana.
Yeah, Incarn from Envious is developing a lot of momentum there. Finally a Panda racial. It took a while. I'm curious why Smexon wasn't doing this earlier. Look how much pressure. Jamili's already down at half HP. I feel like if he's not doing that on cooldown, he definitely needs to start at this point. Maybe he forgot he was a Panda. Roasty's getting bursted down below 20%, proccing that tank trinket, so they could switch back to him later on. That's an opening.
I don't think you can ever forget that you're playing Panda. You can see Smexon in the middle of the map right now, still putting a lot of pressure onto Jamili. A lot of burst. Iron Bark gets thrown out by Gorecki here with the Thorns as well. Making Smexon kind of second guess his target choice, but it looks like he still wants to get that damage over onto Jamili. Kidney shot now committed by Roasties onto Envious. They get the Bark skin. Colo has no trinket available. He always has to trade that trinket for the blind. In the meantime, though, Gorecki, look at him sitting down behind the pillar. He got a little bit of mana there. A good job by Envious to shut that down, not allowing Gorecki to reset his mana pool.
Yep, good starfall positioning from Envious, denies the drink attempt from Gorecki, and mana is going to be the name of the game as Dampening. The big red number at the top of your screen has finally entered the fight, producing all effective healing and stacking over time. It's going to make the situation much more stressful throughout this. Colo has done a good job banking his defensive cooldowns. He can use those to stay aggressive and on target if he needs to end the match. Roasties, in the meantime, needs to try and navigate away to victory. Right now, his openings are Envious and Colo. They both don't have trinkets, so they will sit through a full kidney shot and take the entire duration of Vendetta, which is massive damage. We see Gorecki moving across the map, but gets denied by Envious. Great play from Envious. Now Jamili is falling behind. Roasties is trying to go after Smexon. You only see him as the best target. I guess he's traded out his trinket now, so he's not the worst. We see Solar actually used on Jamili, trying to deny some Cyclones as Smexon is laying into Jamili. Gorecki timing some heals though, picking him back up quite rapidly. Envious now getting swapped too. Ton of damage from Jamili. Colo into a Cyclone. Good crowd control from the Rejects in this position.
Yeah, Jamili decides to pull the trigger with his Incarnation, getting out some damage. You can see Envious just line of sight in here, trying to avoid that damage. Roasty still has the Vendetta as well. Colo could potentially be a good target. He has no trinket. He has no astral shift. They can get a nice surprise swap on a Colo. Once again, they need the cross CC on Envious, so he can't get out the regos. They could absolutely take Colo down with a nice swap, but it doesn't look like they're going to do that just yet. Smexon going to get rotted down. Kidney shot committed onto Envious. He just trinkets out immediately. Doesn't want to mess around. Wants to continue this pressure. Also, just kind of falling behind.
Roasties has been sitting on this Vendetta for what I feel is far too long, and now he's losing openings. Colo's going to have trinket, even obviously pulled out with blind, but I really think he could have gotten 2 Vendettas in the amount of time that he's taking to use 1, and that's costing mana. There's the swap on the Colo. They're doing it before the trinkets. They're baiting a trinket with this, and then they're going to blind him and kill somebody else, but Colo is not falling for the bait. This is a scary situation for him, but because he didn't fall for it, he's now going to have trinket to remove blind, which would be a much scarier situation later on.
Yeah, that was really, really smart. The Rejects trying to set that up, but Colo reading the situation very, very well. Envious now with the Incarnation gets kidney shot. He has no trinket available. Shadow Step kick coming in from Roasties, trying to make the play for his team. Take down Envious in this situation, but it doesn't look like there's any follow-up CC on Colo. Gorecki once again baiting them in, looking for the drink, gets a significant amount of mana. He's actually tied up mana in this situation. Colo's still falling a little bit behind in terms of healing.
All right, Envious getting pressured. Everyone on Colo's team down below half. This could be a time for Colo to use Ascendance. He's been banking it the entire game, and he's trying to bank it a little bit longer, but it's a greedy move. And against a rogue, it's a risky one, as someone can just get erased in a stun. Colo caught into that stun for right now. Jamili getting pressured, though. He's not able to get any sort of counter pressure going. He might just go down. There's so much damage between Smexen and Envious, and the Super Rejects will lead the series 1-0.
And we are going to see the Super Rejects get that win. And ultimately here, we go for very deep runs here. Both Gorecki and Colo need to find a big success in this tournament if they ever want to compete against EU again in this year.
All right, Roasty's starting this fight with a double Gyro. That's going to be a big boost of damage. Envious is trying to slow it down with Bash. Smexen's just going to be hammering away at Roasty's at the start, but I would think that he wants to make his way towards Jamili. He's a little bit reluctant to overextend too far from Colo. They're just going to go after Roasties for now. They get a Solar Beam interrupt onto Gorecki. That is going to put his team behind. If they can get more crowd control off the back of it, they're unable to. Roasties breaking it up with a kidney shot on Envious. Gorecki should be able to start to stabilize. Roasties trying to make a move. Shadow Step blind. Colo responds with his trinket instantly. This again opens up kill potential to swap to Colo, but Jamili's the one that's just on the back foot. Gorecki seems just to be struggling.
Jamili, where's your tank trinket, bro? I didn't see it proc here. I think he's not playing it.
It would have been procced at 40%. Haven't seen it. He's going to go into Bear, but that is a huge missed defensive opportunity here. And I wonder if that means they're going to be able to get out a big amount of pressure, because Jamili's getting absolutely chunked.
Yeah, he has to retreat behind the pillar. Gorecki finally able to connect some heals, but Jamili's one of those players, he can be very stubborn with that stuff. He always wants the game to be fast-paced, doesn't want to dampen anyone, is looking for those fast-paced gameplay, and maybe that trinket is just something he doesn't want no part of.
Well, it doesn't look like he's getting out any extra pressure because of not having it. He's just got to run away, and he can't do damage when he is in travel form. So the question is whether or not he will find a payoff. Now we're starting to see that pressure come online. Smexen and Envious were taking a little bit of damage there for a second. But ultimately, this Incarn's not going to pay too many dividends here for Jamili.
Yeah, I mean, I like this from Colo and Envious. Just played defensive during this window. They know Jamili is a very big threat. Just avoid him. No confrontation. Colo is surprisingly actually behind on mana. I was expecting Gorecki to be in that case, but he's obviously been using healing waves instead of potentially healing surges during that kind of scary moment at the start of the game. Colo looking for a cheeky Hex to peel for Envious. Unfortunately, just going to break instantly into Envious's damage, so he's going to bash Roasties, walk away, go after Jamili. Jamili is the primary target. Enhancement Shaman, this expansion, unlike others, brings a ton of sustain damage. They're not so much about Doomwind's burst one-shots anymore. It's really just about staying on the target and ripping in for as long as possible, which pairs up nicely with the Boomkin, which is all about burst damage. So you coordinate together, you get huge hits. Envious, though, right now on the back foot as Roasties uses his most powerful cooldown. Colo has to jump in and save the day, but that's a big trade to make this early on.
Yeah, you know, Smexen on the Enhancement Shaman, a lot of consistent damage like you said, but Roasties, that is what Assassination is good at. Sticking on a target, keeping up your bleeds. You have the very effective wound poison to reduce incoming healing. Anytime he pops that Vendetta, it's going to be very scary for the Super Rejects. They managed to survive the last one with the Spirit Link Totem coming in from Colo. Now a kidney shot over onto Smexen. Jamili just trying to keep pressure up on everyone. It's going to be a Solar Beam over onto Colo. No root, though, unfortunately, so Colo's going to be able to walk out of that silence. Now we get a Panda Racial over onto Gorecki. Do they have the caps done out of that? A little bit of damage onto Jamili. Smexen all over him right now, using the interrupt as well, keeping him stunned up. This is some solid pressure coming in from the Super Rejects.
The dangers of attacking a balanced druid is that you give him instant cast Lunar Strikes. I haven't really seen Jamili utilizing him too much. That'd be a great way to generate a lot of astral power. We see a swap from Roasties, and the Rejects have a lot more momentum now at this point. It looks shaky at the start, but they're finding their footing. That big trade earlier with Spirit Link could be an opening now. Smexen getting cloned at low health. Colo's going to have to still recover through that. Manages to catch himself. A couple heals, moves over to Smexen. Should be able to top him off shortly. Jamili just laying down the pain. Roasty's pulling back. They're going to go after Smexen as he's overextended. Colo moves next to him. Jamili switches targets, and the Rejects are just all over the place in terms of their targeting. Colo's going to trinket blind, overlap with Smexen's trinket. That's a massive opening that the Rejects can punish in the next 25 seconds.
Yeah, they can get a root beam onto Colo, followed up by potentially a Hex by Gorecki while keeping Smexen locked down. Maybe they can take him down. You know, they do have triple D curse in that match, or on this roster with the Super Reject, so Gorecki's Hex is not going to be super effective unless they can get triple CC out. Kidney shot now committed over onto Smexen. Some solid pressure coming in once again. Vendetta almost available for Roasties, and that really is going to be that scary moment. Smexen has to save his Astral Shift for that.
One thing I like from Jamili, you normally don't see adaptation pick that often because it's really easy to punish, but against a team like Super Rejects in their composition, they have no stuns that are really that scary that you would normally have to trinket out of. So Jamili runs adaptation. This lets him get out of more cyclones more often and do more damage. So it's really nice that Jamili actually thought about that to maximize his DPS, as this is likely to be a mana race for the healers. We see Incarn pop from Jamili. There's the Solar Beam. This is the punish. They've got everyone locked in crowd control. They need to interrupt Envious. They winch your Envious. Perfect setup here from the Rejects. They don't have enough damage to push Smexen over the edge. That was their opening. That was the one-hit wonder, but it wasn't enough.
Yeah, Smexen held that Astral Shift very, very patiently, realizing the situation. Roasties wasn't able to push through with that Vendetta. Smexen ultimately survives. Cole is actually doing quite well on mana. I think that moment where he fell behind in the beginning was from a lot of offensive purges potentially coming in. We know he's not afraid to get in when their team has momentum, throw out those purges to assist in removing some of those heal over time effects that the enemy is putting out.
All right, Smexen caught into another kidney shot. A lot of damage flying towards him from the Rejects as Kolo in the back line is trying to time some heals and pick him back up. He should be shortly as the healing waves come in. We see Solar Beam actually used on Jamili defensively by Envious. Now Gorecki doesn't have to deal with that threat, and that's going to allow the Rejects to sit even more comfortable moving forward.
Yeah, Smexen caught into a full Cyclone. Envious taking some damage as well. Cole falling a little bit behind here, but should be able to catch up with some effective Riptides. There's a bash over onto Roasties. They make a swap over onto him. Smexen putting out a lot of damage, but the tank trinket prevails. Roasties ultimately survives from that, but they managed to get that defensive cooldown, that 2-minute timer from Roasties, potentially be able to swap to him later on. Both Shamans have their trinkets. They have Spirit Link. They have a lot of mana. This is looking like it could be a very long game.
Yep, actually we just started into Dampening. Another stun on Smexen. Kolo already timing healing waves. He should be able to tank through that quite safely. Both Boomkin and Shaman on each team just tag teaming together, making sure they can support each other if the melees start to push forward, and it's really forcing Roasties and Smexen to be the only targets right now in this match. They managed to get Smexen's Absorb Trinket forced. That's a nice move. Now he's going to be a little bit softer if they want to commit to him later on, but they've only got a 2-minute window to do it. Roasties is under fire. Jamili is under fire. So Super Rejects are starting to build more momentum for themselves. They're pulling defensive cooldowns. Jamili is still on the run, and we saw him just get destroyed in the first game, so he needs to be careful.
Yeah, you got to race. Gorecki now caught into the silence, has to trinket out of that. Jamili getting lower and lower. Gorecki's going to have to play catch-up, potentially throwing out that Spirit Link Totem. In the meantime, though, Roasties also taking some damage. Capstun comes in from Kolo onto Gorecki. Pops the Ascendance, gets Capstun once again. Good teamwork from Smexen and Kolo. Roasties has to trade out the Vanish, the Evasion, and the Cloak of Shadows to keep himself alive. So Super Rejects getting cooldowns all over the place.
All right, forcing Healing Tide and Ascendance at the same time, which means Gorecki won't have powerful healing cooldowns for another 3 minutes. Solar Beam committed there, but not really accomplishing too much. Jamili on the run with Gorecki. Good positioning. Should be able to, but they're swapping actually to Roasties. He used all of his cooldowns in that earlier exchange, as you pointed out, Ven, so it's really good for Smexen to switch to him constantly. Gorecki's got to keep his eyes on 2 members of his team. Moving into Dampening, it's becoming more and more difficult. Vendetta available for Roasties. What are his openings? He's going after Smexen, trying to bait a trinket with this stun, not finding it. Goes for a Shadow Step kick, but unfortunately Cyclone Smexen. Now they're going to go after a different target. Looks like Envious, but he still has Barkton. He's going to trade that, but that was a bit of a bait. Now Envious is a viable target for that Vendetta should Roasties commit it.
Exactly. I was looking and opening for Roasties and the Rejects, and now Envious is that opening. If they can get CC on Kolo, really Envious doesn't have anything to keep himself alive. No renewal, no Barkskin, no trinket. Roasties has that very powerful Vendetta, though. Smexen rotting down. He trinkets out as well. Kolo has to play catch-up. He has the Ascendance available, but being greedy, holding on to it. Big burst out onto Jamili right now. Activates the Barkskin to reduce some of that damage. 20% dampening. Both Shamans doing okay on mana, but Kolo actually managed to pull ahead.
All right, let's look at Super Rejects. They're all below half, and Kolo hasn't topped them with Ascendance. He's locked down in a kidney shot. That was great timing from Roasties, removing that powerful healing cooldown from the fight, which means Kolo has to power through with expensive heals like it healing surges right now. That's going to cost him a lot of mana, and that's what they need to do. Gorecki's already behind. They need to try and get ahead as much as possible. Jamili down at half, Roasties down at half now. As both teams move into Dampening, their health is going to not recover as easily. Kolo not making any moves. Roasties looks like he's trying to gun after him, but gets Cyclone by Envious. Good teamwork there by Envious to help Kolo recover throughout this pressure. Jamili kiting Smexen into the open, baiting him into potentially a bad position. I'm surprised if Roasties isn't playing Smoke Bomb. I would have thought that would be really good punishment on Smexen, like right here. He's in a stun 40 yards away from his team, and you just Smoke Bomb him. so I'm very surprised to not see Roasties opt for that trinket option. Nice cyclone from Jamili, stalling Smexon's health bar at about 50%. Colo trying to time some heals out of this. They're not able to completely capitalize on it. Nice wind shear now onto Gorecki. That's going to put him behind.
Yeah, I believe Envious has been using his innervates over onto Colo. That's one of the reasons that Colo's been able to do so well on mana. Good teamwork between them. Jamili rotting down into the bash, caps down on Gorecki. Jamili taking quite a bit of burst right now, but Smexon got caught into the kidney shot. Wasn't able to really capitalize on that crowd control, so that was nicely done by Roasties to slow down that very powerful enhancement Shaman before he was caught into the Cyclone. Poison Bomb proc on Smexon. Smexon just trying to get on top of Jamili, shut him down as much as possible. Interrupt over onto Gorecki, gets locked out for 2 seconds. Jamili getting bursted down, Barskin forced out, as well as the Thorns. In the meantime, Roasties also rotting down. Envious doing a great job in this match, making sure he has pressure of all 3 members of the Super Rejects.
Descendants just came up, but Roasties is out of line of sight, and good night. Super Rejects going to lead this series 2-0. I thought Gorecki was he was about to be all happy there because Ascendance came up, but he was out of line of sight. Roasties didn't respond or get back to him in time. Super Rejects now.
Super Rejects have the ability, just one map can prove that they are the better Rejects.
I gotta say, that fly through into Tolvaron Arena was beautiful as well. Shout out to the cameraman behind the scenes. Nicely done.
All right, Roasties sneaking across the map. It's very important for Rogue Mage to have a good start of their fight so they can swing with momentum. They're playing it patiently and trying to make sure they can nail as much crowd control as possible. We see Sap on Colo stun on Smexon. They need to interrupt Cyclones from Envious from Stealth. Doesn't look like he's even going for them. Could be a potential mistake. Smexon trying to tank it, gets cloned at not really that low of health. It seems like they're just going to switch targets instead, going after Envious, who is out in the open. Jamili tries to get a sneaky polymorph, gets denied, goes for a Ring of Frost off the Frost Nova. Colo dispels it and moves out of it. Nice moves from Colo.
That was really nice what Jamili just tried to do there. That was actually, he Nova'd him and then dropped the ring, and then he tried to pet Nova on the dispel. Unfortunately, Colo managed to move just a yard there. Otherwise, he would have landed that. That was a really nice move mechanically.
Yeah, Envious taking some damage. Roasties really laying in right now. Jamili getting rotted down, though. Smexon all over him, turns his attention over onto Roasties. We saw Roasties go down really, really quickly in that last game. This could happen again. Caught into the bash, but he managed to pre-feint it. Feint has a much longer cooldown in Battle for Azeroth for Rogue, so they have to be much more precise at when they use that cooldown. And Roasties has been doing a good job to his credit in this match so far.
Roasties is playing the Veiled Eye Trinket, and he has been in the previous matches as well, but I'm not sure if Jamili is using it or not. We're going to have to keep our eye open for that, as he could be the potential target choice here for Smexon. Yeah, I think right now they just want to kind of get to Dampening, stack up their damage, and find a big lead in terms of mana later, but right now Gorecki is actually dipping a little bit behind on that mana bar as well.
At least he's utilizing his Innervate. It's a 3-minute cooldown, but he wants to use it as much as possible because these have been 10, 15-minute games, so you can get close to 5 Innervates in a game, so you want to get it on cooldown. Gorecki charging across the map. The Rejects trying to start some crowd control. Jamili gets wind sheared on the ring. Goes for a poly, doesn't get it, but Gorecki backs him up with a clone. Envious now in a 3-on-2. Smexon trying to support him, trading out his trinket, but overlapped with Envious's. That's a big opening later on into this game if the Rejects can get crowd control set up similar to this.
Yeah, Smexon has a lot of support for Colo with that grounding totem, so it can be difficult for Jamili to get the follow-up crowd control. This Smexon is doing a good job with that, but there's the full polymorph onto Colo. Ray of Frost on Envious, a lot of pressure out on him. Roasties really laying in. Another polymorph on Colo. A lot of pressure here for the Rejects, onto the Super Rejects. Colo finally gets out of the poly, gets some heals over onto Envious. Envious should be fine, but that was kind of a scary moment.
Yep, Panda's good at serving and cooking food, but also good at serving and dishing out heals. Smexon saving Envious there quite easily. I know that was bad, Rich. It's fine. You hit me with your best one, Rich. Colo in a blind has Trinket, but he's being greedy.
Actually, I like that he sits this blind because Envious has nothing. If he trinkets there, then they have a 1-minute kill window here on Envious. So the greed is going to pay off for Colo there. It was actually kind of smart, I think, to sit that one. And Jamili is playing the Veiled Eye, just propped right there.
He's finally given in to the dark side.
Yes.
Choosing to play that defense. And I think it's an intelligent option. It's just one of those tools right now that's so good.
There we got it, the combo. So you can drop that hibernate on Shamans in that Ghost Wolf form. So if Gorecki manages to bash Colo in that the Ghost Wolf, he can cast that hibernate at the same time as Jamili can cast that sheep, and they essentially gets a guaranteed sheep that way as well.
It was really nicely done there by Gorecki and Jamili, and that's kind of been what's been lacking in their tournament today is the coordination and clean setups. They really need to get more focused. There's a lot on the line. They're in 4th place. They could be knocked down to 5th, if not even potentially further if Casca's Angels have a good run in this tournament. So the Rejects, they just need to wake up.
Envious going to be taking a little burst now. Looks like Envious wants to shut down some of this damage using that beam over on a Jamili. Gets caught into the bash as well, but Jamili responding appropriately, uses the temporal shield before the bash. They're not going to be able to find the damage. Now Rosti getting swapped too, but he's going to be okay as well. Gorecki just playing very defensive in this match so far. Just wants to extend this game as long as possible.
All right, Gorecki charging across the map, trying to set up some crowd control. Double casts going out. Ring of Frost, good canceled by Gorecki. Now they've got a long crowd control chain available. Who is going to trade out the cooldowns in this moment? Envious pops his biggest defensives. That's going to allow him to survive through that chain, but he won't have them for the next one should the Rejects be able to find that opportunity moving forward. Smexon getting cloned up. Gorecki trying to stall out the damage. It does appear to be Envious as the kill target. Surprising that Roasties is still not switched over to the smoke bomb. I believe Acro was playing that in the EU region, so...
Ooh. Nice blink CS.
Oh!
Envious in a lot of trouble. Do they have the burst damage? Bash on to Jamili. Envious trying to keep himself alive. Nice cyclone on the... I believe that was just a nice cyclone out of the bash. Jamili's going to not be able to do any more damage, but that was such a scary moment. Nice blink CS by Jamili setting that up.
All right, Solar Beam used defensively on Jamili, trying to break up crowd control and buy time for Colo to heal. This is a scary moment where Envious and Colo don't have trinkets. They can't get out of crowd control. Smexon has to be the one to carry the next crowd control attempt. Will he be able to save Envious or will he choke here? Here comes triple crowd control. Perfect setup by the Rejects. Now they need damage and they need a lot of it. Where is it? It's not happening. Envious is just sitting at full HP. Smexon tossing out heals, saving the day and not even needing to trinket. The Super Rejects shut down the Rejects once again.
Yeah, they need that triple crowd control if they want to pierce through the defenses of the Super Rejects. If Smexon's able to just free cast, he's going to be able to keep Envious alive until much later on in the game. 4% dampening now, so that is ramping up. Definitely a factor. I think with the Mage and the rest of Druid, you just have so much control. You can slow so much damage down from, Envious on the Boomkin and Smexon on that Enhancement Shaman that later on in the game, they just don't get off effective damage compared to you, and that hybrid healing really is just so ineffective that you have a big advantage.
This is a great crowd control chain right now by the Rejects. This is exactly what they need to do for the rest of the series, and I think they're going to walk away with it. Later in Dampening, Envious doesn't survive that. They're doing good on mana. They just need those clean setups, and this could easily be a reverse sweep if they can keep it up. In the meantime, Envious has a big threat coming up in 30 seconds that Gorecki needs to get ready for. They have a lot of cooldowns to trade. It would be a bit of a throwaway, and the Rejects should be taking this. This game is entirely in their favor.
Yep, Vendetta available. They just need one CC chain on Colo in the next 23 seconds. Gorecki can push in and get a bash. There's the full polymorph. Envious, Vendetta, let it rip. A lot of damage over on him. Do they have the follow? Gorecki charges in, gets sheared on the Cyclone. Jamili gets the polymorph. Envious getting lower and lower. Gorecki gets the bash. And that is it. Beautifully done by the Rejects to come back in the series. That was such nice CC coming in from both Gorecki and Jamili, just really getting that coordination down.
Jamili comes in on the Mage, and they're able to find a victory, and now we got a series on our hands. Was the Mage the key factor here, Zico?
I will give them that.
Yeah, Cole is actually playing the Spirit Blink talent, so he's going to be syncing up everyone's HP in this matchup. Could backfire, though, like Zico was saying. If Roasties is playing that flying dagger build, he's going to be able to spread poison, spread damage onto everyone. We'll have to see if that's something he implements.
All right, Smexon trying to go after the Mage. Envious trying to follow suit. Actually, now maybe going after Roasties. We see a kidney shot. Actually getting sanctuaried there by Envious. Blind was trinketed, and they're going to go after Colo. I think this is smart. Jamili's team needs to work on just area of effect damage, rot everybody, and run Colo out of mana. So running at Colo and running at a Spirit Link Shaman is definitely the best, one of the better ways to deal with the Spirit Link talent. Evan Bolt, there's a kidney shot. Colo could be in trouble. He's in midfield. Ray of Frost fully channeled. Now Smexon is going to charge over, break that damage up a bit. Jamili blinking over, trying to slow down the game, but Roasties is really laying in. Colo trying to deflect, forcing Roasties to switch targets. Now he doesn't want to attack into that Earthen Shield Totem, but they are going after Gorecki. It's going to be a healer race potentially in this game, ladies and gentlemen.
He manages to dash away and survive, but they got the Bark Skin and they got the Trinket proc. That's going to be huge. Smexon's actually going to be playing that Gnome specialization to get out of some of those Frost Mage snares and roots. Envious playing the Dwarf, sort of soft counter that Assassination Rogue. So I like that adaptation from Super Rejects in this matchup. They knew what they were playing against. Gorecki manages to get out of line of sight. Trinket not available any longer. Smexon can get there with Envious with a Hammer of Justice. They can definitely get a lot of pressure rolling.
All right, Zico, I've got some insider information. You want to know what Trinket Envious and Smexon are using?
Yeah.
The big red.
Oh!
I wanted to keep it as a secret.
If you see a bunch of rockets flying out of Smexen and Envious and just erasing somebody, that's going to be what it is, the big red button. Let's see if they can get on target. They're trying to bait a trinket maybe and then go after that person. They've been holding on to it the whole game, so that's going to be their surprise attack.
Well, they forced out the Veil dive from Goreki, so they actually have an opportunity to just stun him, get him to like 40%, and then just double BRB him.
As soon as I saw that Veiled Eye get procced, I assumed that they were going to go back on him and try to pop that instantly. But they got to be careful, because once they use it once, it's going to be obvious that they have it. Moving on over to Goreki's completely by himself. Could this be the BRB?
I don't think so. They got him stunned in bear form during Barkskin. This is not the time or opportunity to do it, but maybe on the next stun, they actually managed to force Iron Bark. If they can just stay on target, Goreki could flop. This is match point. There's a lot on the line for the rejects if Goreki chokes.
Yeah, Goreki trying to get out of line of sight, throwing out the Tranquility. In the meantime, Rosy's taking quite a bit of damage. Jamili doing everything he can with the Ring of Frost, with the Novas, to try to slow down Smexen and Envious. They have decent pressure, but Goreki in so much trouble. He trinkets out. If Smexen and Envious can get there, they could use that trinket, execute Goreki relatively quickly. He's trying to survive. Rosy's and Jamili doing everything they can, flailing to keep their healer alive.
They're all closing in on Goreki. They've got the mana lead, they got the cooldown lead, and suddenly this Red Paladin isn't looking too bad. The next stun could just close the game out. Goreki needs, there's one big red button, there's the other one, but Veiled Eye! Oh, now he knows they have it. It's unfortunate. All right, Goreki's going to survive now. He's got Barkskins to rotate through, and all of that time spent for nothing feels bad, man. Let's see if they can stay on target. They've still got the mana lead, at least.
That was our last hope.
Colo doing well on mana. They really haven't been able to get too much pressure against the super rejects. Jamili and Rosy's really having to peel a lot in this matchup. Smexen and Envious, they're going to be running over onto Goreki once again. Not in bear form, caught into the Hodge. Activates the Bark Skin. Doesn't have any hop healing from any hybrid, so he's in so much trouble. He's the only one keeping himself alive. That dash. Run, kitty, run. Goreki gets away. Gets some heals on himself, but they turn their attention over onto Rosy's. Proc the trinket, faint down. Cloak of Shadows used. Has the evasion, but Smexen really laying in right now, putting out a lot of pressure in that battle stance. Needs to be careful not to be in there for too long, or Rosy's might be able to punish.
Yeah, and Colo's got to double the mana of Goreki, which is unexpected as he's running that Spirit Link talent. So the Super Rejects are in a great position despite the disadvantage that a Ret Paladin would normally have. The durability he gets from Spirit Link is making him so tanky that the Rejects have no opening with the pressure they build by going after Goreki. There's one big red button. Not going to get the kill, but it is burning more mana and more time on the clock. How do the Rejects deal with this? They've got Icy Veins coming up in 2 minutes. They've got Vendetta up in a minute. They've got no trinket on Colo, but it's going to be up by the time Vendetta's available. I don't see any openings for the Rejects. This is looking better and better for the Super Rejects.
Yeah, double CC going out. Envious actually going to be throwing that Blessing of Protection onto Smexen. That wasn't the Vendetta, though, so not really getting full value. Just wants Smexen freed up so he can get back onto Goreki, who's almost completely tapped on mana. If Super Rejects can stall out this game, they can keep up this consistent damage onto Goreki. Innervate's going to be used. Goreki looking like he wants to get a drink. Smexen and Envious, they need to punish someone. They need to get on Roasties or Jamili or stop this drink, because Goreki's going to be going to full mana.
I mean, that was kind of a bad Innervate. He used Innervate, then went in stealth. He didn't cast any heals with it. That was really bad Innervate. And when he's behind on mana, I don't think he can afford to do bad Innervates. Coloing crowd control, though, trying to get a kill here on Smexen. That is their only opening with no trinket. Can they get enough damage in time? They're on the clock as we've just set into Dampening.
Yeah, Smexen taking some damage. Ebonbolt gets channeled out. Ray of Frost as well. Smexen getting lower. Colo trying to keep him alive. He still has the Earthen Shield Totem. Goreki now getting swapped to once again. Dampening is in. All three members of the Rejects getting lower and lower. Barkskin's going to be activated. He should be able to survive this. Nice peels coming in from Jamili. He gets interrupted. Smexen's on him now. Are they going to be able to force out the Ice Block? It looks like the Super Rejects, they're just going to be splitting their target now, really taxing the mana of Goreki.
Oh, Smexen is just owning Roasties right now. Evasion traded out in the nick of time to dodge some executes. In the meantime, though, double crowd control from Jamili and Goreki. If they can keep it going, they can't keep the chain going. They're going to be able to top off Smexen shortly. Goreki on the run. Jamili's rotting down. Roasties as well. Everybody on the Rejects are in trouble. Colo with a huge mana lead at this point. The only opening now is that Envious actually doesn't have Divine Shield. They could go after him, but they're still going after Smexen, try to punish these battle stance positions that he's been going after. Goreki trying to sneak a drink. Smexen leaps over, denies the drink. Perfect timing. That's the advantage that they need to keep. Icy Veins blown by Jamili. What is he trying to get? Nice poly. He needs to get damage with this Icy Veins. It might be the last one he gets of the game. Goreki caught into a Hammer of Justice. There's no damage. Jamili's just spamming polys. He's trying to now finally finish the job here on Smexen. They need to kill him in the stun, but I don't think it's going to be enough. He's going to survive, and with that Icy Veins threat out of the way, Super Rejects can go wherever they please.
Yeah, use that Icy Veins very defensively, not really getting any offense left. Still has the Comet Storm, the Frozen Orb, the Ray of Frost, basically everything available to him, conserving all of that damage. Rosie's in a lot of trouble, though. He shadow steps away to Gorecki. Gorecki doing everything he can to keep him alive, but he has no mana left. There's the Hodge onto Gorecki. Barkskin's going to be used. Rosie's gets caught into the capstone as well. The Reject falling behind. Tank Trinket going to be keeping Gorecki alive for a little bit longer, but a Smexen and Envious can keep this uptime. It's going to be good night, Gorecki.
Colo can start spamming Purge. He's got more than enough mana to do it. Dampening's ramped up, and Gorecki's tapped. His entire team is rotting down. It would be the perfect time for Colo to just push the Purge gas pedal all the way down to the floor. Rosie's trying to duck behind the corner. Good crowd control from Jamili, the only thing keeping his team alive right now. Gorecki manages to sneak in a Cyclone. Is this the opening that they need? Envious doesn't have very much to stay alive on his own. Colo dropping out of that clone. Rosie's trying to follow up with more crowd control. Jamili needs to get a poly, but it's not actually going for it. He's blinking defensively, trying to peel Smexen off of Gorecki. Rosie's just trying to punish Smexen as well. Moving over, realizing how overextended he is, but it's all in at this point. Gorecki trinkets out. Colo's all on top of him. Purge is coming in. Rosie's is rotting down, and this is it. The Rejects are on match point. Gorecki needs a miracle.
Yeah, Rosie's in execute range as well. He pops the evasion, pops the feint. Can they take him down? Envious gets the killing blow before the kidney shot. Super Rejects gonna send the Rejects packing.
In a battle of good and evil. Seeing some variants, but this is going to be the jungle battle that we wanted. Casca's Angels versus Super Whales Elimination Series.
I mean, this is kind of battle for third place. Casca's Angels are very close to passing Super Frogs so they can get a first place finish, so they definitely want to take this series. Super Whales, they're very low on points. They're not really close to even getting third place, so they're basically stealing an opportunity away from Casca's Angels. Dilly's going to have to play out of his mind, see what he can get done.
Yeah, bash on the Born Good. Both healers got trapped at the start of the game. Dilly Poo already falling a little bit behind. Tank Trinket going to be rocking with a fear over on a Born Good. Boom Surge falling down as well. So it seems like Super Whales, they're going after Dilly. Casca's Angels, they're going to be looking for Boom Surge as the main target.
Yeah, that might be due to the mending advantage. If they stun Dilly, he can't use it, so it makes sense that they want to go after him. We see double stuns. Unfortunately, DR'd on Dilly. That was a big mistake by the team of the Super Whales early on, and that's allowing Dilly to kite away from the damage. But even still, while kiting, it can be difficult against a Beast Mastery Hunter when all those pets just move so fast. Mana fairly even moving on throughout the early game. Milkman is burned through Rapture, though. It's a big defensive. He's trying to get a Psychic Scream, but he's getting snared by Concussive Shot. Nice move by SSDs. Now a bash from Boom Surge, stalling out the Psychic Scream as long as possible, but it wasn't stalled out enough, and Boom Surge is in trouble. Born Good's playing Relentless. He doesn't want to have to Divine Shield out of that fear. He's going to hold on to it. Bit of a greedy move, but a close call nonetheless.
Well, you have Survival Instincts and that Tank Trinket. It's so much damage reduction. You know, that looked like a close call, but I think Born Good read the situation appropriately and didn't overreact. SSDs now caught in the stun, taking some damage. Seems like Casca's Angels has most of the momentum. Finally, a full trap secured on Milkman with the Hammer of Justice on the Dilly. He's just getting healed up. Look at Cyfoxy just throwing off the off healers, keeping Dilly topped off until Milkman gets out of crowd control. And with that Archangel, should have no problem topping him off.
All right, another freezing trap secured on Born Good. Boom Surge in a 3-on-2. Good follow-up from the team of Casca's Angels. Boom Surge in trouble. Born Good doing whatever he can here to pick him back out, catching a couple big heals. Stalling out the match, but another Skull Bash by Cyfoxy, keeping this chain going just a couple seconds longer. We've seen some big bites. Even just a second of crowd control can just be the end of a fight for a team in this matchup. Milkman, though, that mana bar not looking too good.
No, it's not. Discipline Priest really struggle on mana right now. So do Holy Paladins, though, so Born Good's doing a good job holding on to some of that mana, but I don't know if it's going to be enough. He has to trade out the Divine Shield and the Blessing of Protection to keep Boom Surge alive. It gets dispelled off immediately by Milkman. Milkman using the last little bits of his mana to be offensive with those dispels. Maim on Dilly. Cyfoxy going to be fine. He trinkets out immediately. Wants to continue this pressure on to Boom Surge and SSDs.
All right, Casca's Angels, they're on the clock to try and make a third-place finish after the end of this cup. Will they be able to do it? They're running out of time, but Born Good's also running out of cooldowns. There's an advantage to both teams at this point. Momentum swinging in favor of Casca's Angels. Born Good, luckily, though, with Avenging Wrath coming off CD, can save the day. Preemptive Sacrifice breaking that trap. Nice moves by Born Good that allows him to easily re-stabilize, which is exactly what they needed. They've got the mana advantage. They've burned through a lot of defensive cooldowns, and this is a huge opening for them to take game number one.
Yeah, Super Whales really doesn't have too much left here. Born Good does have some mana, Casca's Angels running out of time, though. Milkman almost completely tapped, caught into the trap. Hammer of Justice on Dilly, who he has Trinket and Turtle, so Dilly should just be fine if he doesn't underreact to the situation. Getting bursted down there by a big ferocious bite by Boom Surge. Now finally a full trap on Borngood. This is Casca's Angels' time to close out this game. The rake stun over onto Boom Surge. Full fear on Borngood. Boom Surge has to survive. He's in bear form, just trying to tank some of this damage. Finally, Borngood gets out of crowd control. Avenging Wrath's going to be used to throw out some additional damage and also heal up his team.
All right, Boom Surge got Incarn rolling. Cyfoxy doesn't have that for 20 seconds. This is a big window for the Super Whales to take a kill. They've got crowd control on the healer. Perfect setup. Dilly gets stunned. Fortunately, DR Mending Bandage going to be MVP there, but that's a big bite. Following suit, aspect of the turtle has to be traded out, and the turtle made it to the water today, but I don't know for how much longer can they keep this up. Borngood is slowly but surely going to be tapped on mana. Now it's Cyfoxy's opportunity. Incarnation now available. I'm sure he's going to pop that almost as soon as possible to try and swing this in his favor, as he has now used it. Both healers completely tapped. We're not even into dampening. Both teams continue swinging.
Yeah, Dilly is the one that's in a lot of trouble here. Milkman really only has that Rapture to fall back onto. SSDs getting low, though. Has to activate the aspect of the turtle. Borngood doesn't really have the healing to top him off immediately. You can see Milkman moving in position. Wants to get the crowd control. There's the bash onto Borngood. Going to be followed up by the fear. So much trouble on SSDs. He has to activate the aspect. The turtle doesn't have it available and gets taken down. Nice crowd control from Casca's Angels. That final push there, Milkman able to follow up that trap with the fear, allowing his team to close out the game.
Now, I didn't even think it could be the turning time, but let's see if Super Whales with SSDs changing his spec will be able to pull down a win.
Yeah, that Mending Bandage Survival Hunter brings as an honor talent, super effective against bleed classes like Feral Druids and Assassination Rogues, so it was a bit surprising to not see SSDs start this series, as they knew their opponents was the Dill Cleave, and that means only Survival Hunter Feral, basically. We can see Boom Surge sneaking around in stealth, both hunters playing the camouflage, but Dilly comes out first, so Boom Surge is going to start with a nice double stun. It's a great way for the Super Whales to start this fight.
Yeah, Borngood avoids the fear, lands a Hammer of Justice on Milkman, and sneaks away, so he isn't susceptible to that fear. Unlucky for him, he gets caught into the trap. Look at Milkman running at Borngood, gonna land that double fear. Good pressure out onto Dilly very early on. Boom Surge seems to be the target of choice for Casca's Angels. Even taking a little bit of pressure, but both teams managed to top off.
Yeah, it's still surprising that the hunters aren't actually playing Dwarf. I'm curious if they're playing Night Elf. I think Dilly's playing Night Elf. Maybe he wants Shadow Meld Camouflage resets after removing all of the bleeds. It seems strange. I feel like Dwarf would have just been a way better advantage in this specific matchup against the Feral Druids, and Draenei, I think, is what SSDs is playing. I'm wondering if he's playing Light Forged or normal. It's the difference between offense and defense. Both healers sitting through traps, and Boom Surge dips low, but trades effectively to keep this battle going. Milkman moves in, lands a Psychic Scream. So Casca's Angels, they have a longer crowd control chain, and they have more damage with the Priest, which means they're on a clock and have to end the game faster than their opponents, but they have the tools to do it. They've been executing well. That's why they're able to take game number 1. See if they can do it again here in game number 2.
Yeah, I think SSDs playing that Survival Hunter is going to be that little bit of extra defense that Super Whales really needs to extend it till Milkman has no mana, because he's already down to 40%. We're not in dampening. Full trap on Borngood. He has the bubble. He has the Avenging Wrath to really top off his team. He needs it. SSDs is going to be able to tank through a lot of this damage with that Trinket, looking for some pressure over onto Dilly. Milkman's been doing a good job running at Borngood, making sure he's on top of him for that follow-up fear. At the same time, Borngood's been doing a good job avoiding it. Unless he's caught into that trap, he's always running away, creating distance between him and Milkman. But Milkman with those feathers is going to be exceptionally fast. Boom Surge getting low. Borngood having to not really use anything, but Boom Surge, I think, actually got Blessing and Protection there, so that's what kept him alive. The scary moment, as Borngood was really focused on running away, Casca's Angels was able to capitalize and really take a lot of pressure out.
Yeah, I mean, they're just stalling Milkman's assault, but even if he's not getting the Psychic Scream, Holy Paladin doesn't do much healing while moving, so just even walking out, a nice Mass Dispel from Milkman, standing right on top of him, forcing the Paladin to move and try and exploit that weakness. See Dilly caught in a stun, taking a bit of pressure here, but seems to be able to survive for now, popping that coordinated assaults, trying to lead the charge for his team. Who is he going to go after? We see Milkman into a trap. Did he manage to premonition that, or maybe it ended up breaking? Good crowd control nonetheless, as Borngood is Psychic Screamed away. Boom Surge is on the run. Dilly in hot pursuit. Will Borngood crack under the pressure? Avenging Crusader just came off cooldown right during a stun on Dilly. Perfect moment to burn the rest of Milkman's mana with this pressure.
Yeah, but this could be the final push of Super Whales. Borngood gets caught into the stun, into the full trap. Dilly, though, the one in trouble. Milkman gets out of the stun, able to get some healing out, but he gets silenced up there by SSDS. Nicely done continuing that CC chain. Tries to premonition the trap, but SSDS is not going to be fooled. Lands full trap. Dilly activating that aspect of the turtle to avoid some of that incoming damage, but both teams are running out of defenses very quickly.
Yeah, mana lead, cooldown lead, I think right now for the Super Whales. The only thing they're disadvantaged on is crowd control. Milkman's been executing that quite effectively. Let's see if they can get one more chain. Here's a bash. Dilly needs to land the trap, but he's currently stunned and not able to do it. Will Borngood be able to dodge the trap? Dilly's moving over. He nets Borngood in place, nails the trap. And his whole team could be in trouble. Ultimately, I think he was able to preemptively break out of it. Nice moves from Borngood. He knew that trap could end the game, so he preempted it. Now breaks out of the crowd control and saves his team. As both teams are on the clock, completely out of mana. Milkman pre-pain suppressions, both healers predicting crowd control and making amazing moves.
Yeah, Boom Surge has the Incarnation up, really trying to take Dilly down. Casca's Angels doesn't really have anything left. There's an interrupt over on the Milkman, but the power word shield is exceptionally strong over on to Dilly. Now SSDS caught into the stun, has the aspect of the turtle available. Full trap on a Borngood. Dilly still the one that is in trouble. SSDS forced defensive in the situation. Not the best spot to be in when they have so much pressure on Dilly, but ultimately wants to keep himself alive instead of falling down. Nice fear from Milkman, extending that CC chain onto Borngood.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, look at the mana. Neither healer has anything left, but a full trap is secured first. On to Milkman, Hammer of Justice. Gonna be laying down the smack here as Dilly is hanging on by a thread. Disengages the center field. Instant skull bash. Looking to claim this. Nice moves from Boom Surge in those final seconds. We're tying this series up 1-1.
That really came down to the wire there, but ultimately that slight little tweak is going to give the Super Whales make yet another splash.
Well, here's the thing about this match. Now, Super Whales, they went from, the Paladin versus the Priest, where they do have the mana advantage. This is not going to be in favor of Borngood versus Casca. Like, they are going to have to play really aggressive, get crowd control onto Casca consistently, and try to make something happen, because if the game goes out too long, Borngood will run out of mana before Casca.
Definitely, and this one could go fast, folks. You don't want to blink your veiled eye.
Oh my God.
You were sitting on that one the whole day. Catching it.
I can't. Borngood is stunned up. No trap, though, to follow it up, unfortunately. Dilly's trying to move in and sneak it. Will Borngood preemptively sacrifice instead here? Doesn't look like he was able to make that play. So now Boom Surge and SSDS could be in trouble, but at the same time, Casca is caught in a freezing trap, and he doesn't look like he's playing that Spirit Link talent, so every crowd control could be devastating.
Yep, Dilly gets chopped off by a few Riptides coming in from Casca. Should be fine. A little bit of pressure now mounting for Casca's Angels. Boom Surge gets caught into the stun, has to trinket out. Still has both ticks of Survival Instincts, activates the Incarnation. Wants to get some pressure rolling on Dilly and Cyfoxy.
Yeah, and we can see Boom Surge has got his Incarn rolling as well. Dilly seems to be the target for now. Stun on Casca. They need to snipe a trap. Both healers in crowd control. This is potentially a dangerous moment for either side. Veiled Eyes proccing, though. Dilly's just absorbing all these hits. Boom Surge gets bursted down at the end of this exchange. Forced to trade out a massive defensive cooldown to survive that attack. Every time you see that little blue icon next to Borngood or Casca's frame, it's a freezing trap. It means they can't take any actions to heal their partners. Increases the likelihood that their teammates are going to die or have to trade cooldowns. We can see Bash now on Casca. Everybody dipping low, and this isn't looking too good for Casca's Angels.
Yeah, Casca, I'm interested to see what race he's playing. He's actually playing the Dwarf and Relentless, so he has no trinket. If they can extend a crowd control chain on Casca, he won't be able to get that vital Spirit Link off. They might be able to burst down Dilly or Cyfoxy, so Casca's Angels definitely has to be careful of that.
In the meantime, Borngood had to burn Divine Shield. Now caught in a freezing trap. SSDS gonna get healed up with that exhilaration, back to full HP. No scary times for him. Casca's restabilizing as well in this position. Both teams start to reset their health pools, but they're not getting their cooldowns back as fast. Borngood seems to be the one in a more dire situation, trading now out Blessing of Protection, trying to keep the momentum going. They're on the clock in terms of mana, so I don't blame Borngood for going all out with his cooldowns. They have to make a move.
Yeah, like I said, if the game goes on too long, Borngood's not going to fare well against the rest of Shaman of Casca. Full trap now secured onto Borngood. Doesn't have the Divine Shield, doesn't have a trinket available. Boom Surge going to be preemptively activating that Survival Instinct to just avoid the incoming damage. Doesn't want Borngood to fall behind. In the meantime, Dilly taking a whole bunch of damage with the nice bash over onto Casca. Has to activate that aspect of the turtle. Now doesn't have really any defenses to work with as the game goes on.
Oh, a freezing trap. Cyfoxy in trouble. Both members on Casca's Angels dangerously low. They need another second. Oh, 1 second away feels Casca, man.
That's how curses work.
That's the curse right
That's
there,
how
kicking
curses
in.
work. Super Whales now only need...
They can't afford to throw it away.
And Casca will be playing that Spirit Link talent, syncing up basically all 3 members' HP, making it much more difficult for Super Whales to sort of burst someone down. That really is the main objective of a jungle cleave normally. I'm going to be curious to see how Super Whales adapts to this. Are they just going to try to rot down all 3 targets, mostly focus down Casca? We'll have to see.
I really like the Spirit Link change from Casca. That's been what's been powerful in Resto Shaman for most of the day, and it's super effective against single target burst comps like jungle. So this is the perfect pick for Casca's Angels. If there was a game that Casca could win, this is it. Can he do it? The crowd control has already started on both sides. Freezing traps secured onto Casca, but not secured onto Borngood. That is going to put Casca's Angels slightly behind Dilly, using that mending bandage, taking off the bleeds, trying to slow down the pressure for Casca to recover, reapplying that Spirit Link. Still not looking for a freezing trap, though, and Dilly is falling behind.
There's a lot of pressure here for Super Whales. Casca might have to use that Ascendance very early on to top off his team. He gets interrupted. Refreshes the Spirit Link on all 3 members, though. A little bit of pressure coming out here for Casca's Angels on a Boom Surge. He trinkets out as well, wants to avoid some of this damage. Full Trap may be activated over onto Borngood. Unfortunately, Dilly doesn't find it. I think he was just baiting out the hand of Sacrifice there, potentially. Foxy now having to use the Survival Instinct. Still good pressure mounting for Super Whales.
All right. Looks like mana basically tied at this point as both teams trading evenly on defensive cooldowns. I don't see any significant openings for a win just yet. Finally, a freezing trap secured from Dilly. I was getting a little bit worried. They're building up some pressure on SSDs, forcing him to trade his big heal. Boom Surge making his way over. Looks like they're going to be targeting down Foxy. Double stun. Good combo by the Super Whales. Freezing trap secured. The chain has been landed. Foxy trying to pick himself back up with some heals. Dilly's trinket has proc for a huge absorb, as well as SSDs. Both teams continue swinging.
Yeah, Dilly is playing very defensive in this situation. His pet actually died off, so going for the revived pet. Unfortunately for Super Whales, they weren't really able to stop that. Normally when you kill off the Hunter's pet, you want to do a really good job preventing him from resummoning. It really slows down their damage and their utility. Full Trap now secured on Borngood once again with a stun on the Boom Surge. How is he going to respond? Trinket procs. He's going to be able to survive with that. If we look at mana, Casca is actually behind compared to Borngood, so Super Whales could try to outlast Casca's Angels in this matchup.
And I mean, they're behind on cooldowns, I think, as well. It's not looking too good for Casca's Angels. They're going to need to try and pull it together, get these freezing traps nailed down on point. They need at least 3 in a row right now, I think, if they want to take this game. Can Dilly do it? 3 traps in a row. He's not even making his way over towards Borngood just yet. He's trying to recover. Casca is struggling. Now caught into that bash. Dilly's dogpiling on top of him to try and soak up the freezing trap. Good defensive play, but now they need to get on offense. Fox is going to jump over. He sets up for the trap out of the stun, but they left Casca, and that meant that SSDs could sneak a trap in of his own. Both teams crowd controlled and in trouble. Finally managing to pull SSDS's aspect of the turtle out of the way. A victory for Casca's Angels, but they're running out of time.
Yeah, look at Borngood. He has his bubble. He has his Blessing of Protection. He has a hand of Sacrifice. He has every tool available to keep his team alive. Hodge now over onto Casca. Dilly, once again, his pet died off. Casca, line of sight, jumps back into the fight, trying to get some damage rolling onto SSDs. His pet died off as well, trying to prevent him from getting that re-summon off. Full Trap going to be secured by SSDs over onto Casca right now. He has a Spirit Link up, so no one's going to be taking too much damage. But still, Casca falling a little bit behind. Everyone's on 50% HP. Borngood as well, struggling to top off his team. This is his wings, empowering his healing. Once that fades, it's going to become so much more difficult for him to keep his team stable.
Both teams are equal on cooldowns, equal on mana, and time is starting to tick. Who's going to fall first? It's match point for Casca's Angels. 3rd place potential for them if they stay alive in this series. They need to pull it off. There comes the trap from Dilly. Where's the damage? They've got no trinkets. They're not going for it. They're going after SSDs. They have to kill him, but his trinket proc absorbs that huge hit, allows him to survive one more setup. Now Casca, his team's in trouble. He's locked down in crowd control. Dilly's trinket's going to save him, but Foxy is exposed. Casca's got almost no more mana to refresh the Spirit Link, and as soon as that link is down, the damage is going to be absolutely insane to heal through. How is Casca going to pull through this?
It's going to be difficult. SSDs though in a lot of trouble. Blessing of Protection is going to be thrown out. Can he get the revive pet? Manages to find it. Casca, no more mana left. Borngood uses the bubble, uses the blessing of protection, uses everything, has a little bit more mana left in the tank as they make their final push to try to take down Dilly. Full trap on Casca. It looks like Dilly is the one that is in trouble, but it still has the aspect of the turtle, and now Super Whales, they are falling behind quickly.
Casca made the MVP play, expected to be trapped. He preemptively Earth and Shield Totem and soaked all of the damage. Borngood all in for the kill there. Casca deflects it. He needs to keep going just a little bit longer. Will Cyfoxy hang on? He's hanging on by the skin of his teeth right now. Both healers completely tapped on mana. There's basically nothing left for SSDs. He's the most vulnerable player in the game. Freezing trap secured, and Casca's Angels do it. Casca's Angels do it. Casca gets a win. His first win this year. The curse has been broken.
The Super Whales cannot overcome the Dill, and Casca has pulled down his first victory of the year.
If it makes that adaptation for the last game, that would be awesome.
Now, this is going to be the last game of the day. Who is going to be eliminated from the tournament? Casca's Angels or the Super Whales?
And now I expect Borngood to play very far back. Might try to charge in, get Dilly or Cyfoxy out of stealth early on, but after that, he's just going to play it patient, play at a distance, making it much more difficult for Dilly and Cyfoxy to get that crowd control on him, whereas with Casca, he has to play very close to both Dilly and Cyfoxy in order to get those effective heals off.
All right, potentially a third place point finish on the line for Casca's Angels. They need to win this to even have the chance at it. Who's going to be the king of the jungle in game number 5, match point? Great start right now by the Super Whales, locking down the entire team. Now they need to back it up with a bunch of damage, going after Dilly, but not finding really any opportunities. Now Casca's Angels going for a swing back in their favor with a full freezing trap, but not finding damage either on their side. Both teams very evenly matched.
Yeah, Borngood got full trap, but Boom Surge and SSDs can be completely fine. Dilly taking a little bit of damage right now. Mana in favor of Borngood very early on. Incarnation going to be used by Cyfoxy and Boom Surge. Both teams looking to get aggressive very early on with their offensive cooldowns.
All right, another crowd control attempt here by the Super Whales, but Dilly, MVP trap-eating play there by Dilly. He's not role-playing in this game, breaking up that crowd control, trying to go for a trap, but Boom Surge makes the same play, standing on top of his healer, making it a nightmare for these hunters to snipe out their crowd control.
I love these high-level plays from both teams. Those traps really matter in terms of generating pressure for both teams. So if you can eat one of those, you extend the amount of time you have to heal. Borngood now caught into the bash. Casca caught into the bash. Really just shows you how evenly matched these two jungle cleaves are.
Oh, I think Casca grounded. He grounded Hammer of Justice. Really top-level play in the final match of the final series of the day. You need to tell your friends to tune into this. Let's see who the best jungle cleave of BFA is.
Yeah, Borngood going to be able to top himself off. Everyone's sort of stable. Casca's Angels, though, they're all falling behind. Casca's going to have to play catch-up here. Already on 50% mana. Has the Ascendance, not opting to use it just yet. Really wants to hold that for the final moments where he can top off his team. Really Poo caught into the stun, has the trinket, not going to be using it just yet as Casca's not in any CC. It's a smart play. Mame now over onto Casca. Looks like SSDs is going to charge in. He gets the trap. Casca's going to get out of that, activate the Spirit Link, keep his team alive.
Mana not looking too good for Casca's Angels, and there's more on the line for them than there is for the Super Whales. Super Whales, I think almost mathematically, it's impossible for them to qualify. They're just trying to end the dream of Casca's Angels. Can they keep it? We see a full freezing trap on Borngood. SSDs could be in a bit of danger here, but support from Boom Surge buys time for Borngood to get out of that crowd control and save the day. Now Super Whales are leading for a big hit. Freezing trap, Hammer of Justice, good cross crowd control by the Super Whales. But that tank trinket going to trigger a massive shield on Dilly, allowing him to survive another attempt. Mana still in favor of the Super Whales. It is looking better and better for them.
Yeah, Super Whales feels very stable at this point of the game. They really have a lot of their defensives to work with. Everyone is topped off. Borngood's mana's looking good. Casca's Angels, on the other hand, falling a little bit behind. Casca reactivates the Spirit Link once again. Double stuns going out onto Dilly as well as Cyfoxy. Do Boom Surge and SSDs have the damage to follow up? There's the bash on Casca with the trap on Cyfoxy. Nicely done by him. Eating that trap once again, freeing Casca up from that crowd control, allowing him to continue to let these heals off.
All right, Borngood caught into a stun. No freezing trap available, though, as Dilly already used that, so Borngood will have time to recover. He's trying to fake cast interrupts. He fake casts Cyfoxy's Skull Bash. Nice moves by Borngood. Now he can free cast heals. He's maybe worried about a harpoon kick. He's trying to cross the map, go for a Hammer of Justice. Grounding Totem, unfortunately, not available. That means this crowd control chain could be quite long. SSDs not going for the trap now, trying to get it. Grounding Totem. He baits the Grounding Totem. Now moves in for the freezing trap. Good place from SSDs there, not falling for that trap that Casca laid for him. Full crowd control has been secured. Dilly is now in a lot of trouble as a result. Look at the mana bar, Ven. It's getting so low.
Oh, this is so scary for Casca's Angel. Foxy did a good job preemptively activating that survival instincts to reduce some of that incoming damage, but now doesn't have it left for another 10 seconds. Has to trinket out of the stun. Borngood gets interrupted. Boom Surge getting low. Both teams, this is a very tense moment. Bash now onto Casca, who's almost completely tapped on mana. Not going to have too many Spirit Links left, and like you said, once that fades, it's going to be good night at Casca's Angels.
Okay, so at some point, Borngood needs to decide it's all in. He has Divine Shield. That's what he used the earlier game, but he made the mistake of all inning while Casca had defense. Oh, is he going to get mana?
No.
Nope. That's unfortunate for Casca. He's going to get stunned up. They need to land it. Nice snipe by SSDs. This could easily force Aspect of the Turtle. They need a little bit more damage. Not getting it, unfortunately. That's so devastating. Getting that out of the way could have allowed them to all in on the next freezing trap.
Yeah, unfortunately not going to be able to do that. Casca gets interrupted, though. Not going to be able to top off Dilly. They proc the Trinket. Borngood now into the full trap. SSDs still has all his defenses except a Trinket. He might be able to burst him down here in this Intimidation stun. Looks like good heals from Boom Surge going to keep him stable as we just reach Dampening.
At this point, Casca's completely tapped on mana, so he's going to have to make that preemptive move. He didn't manage to do it. He's fully trapped. Dilly luckily has Aspect of the Turtle. He's trying to hold on to it. Foxy trying to support, buy as much time as possible for them to stay in this fight as they're battling it out to the bitter end. It's match point. Third place qualification potentially on the line for Casca's Angels. They're doing everything in their power, but everybody is just dipping so dangerously low, and Casca has almost nothing left. They got a full trap on Borngood, and they didn't even tickle the health bars. This is just looking so awful for them.
Yeah, Boom Surge has been doing a good job with that off healing. Anytime Borngood's in crowd control, he makes sure to get as much healing out as possible. Has that survival instincts coming up very soon. And like I said, Super Whales is feeling very solid in terms of defense. Big amount of burst on both hunters. Dilly in a lot of trouble. Aspect of the Turtle gets thrown out. Has the exhilaration still. Doesn't want to activate it just yet, but they turn their attention to Foxy. Has to use the survival instinct, and Super Whales has all the momentum.
This is Super Whales' game to throw. They have two major defensive cooldowns to just get in the face of Casca's Angels and take them out. Huge damage. Super Whales assert dominance. King of the jungle.
Yeah.
The main thing to talk about now is going to be how far can they go, because Sid, while you were actually casting, you alluded to the fact that for Super Whale, that there is some potential for upsets. Gosu Crew and Method Orange going to be at the top right now, and then we got another battle of the Supers. We had the battle of the Rejects, now we're going to have the battle of the Supers in the lower bracket. Super Whales versus the Super Rejects.
Yeah, the Super Rejects still one of those teams that if they make a deep run here, they could definitely mix things up and keep the Super Frogs. Unfortunately, they could possibly even knock them down from that top 3 position. So definitely looking for them to make it far in this tournament, but there's still so much competition. They have to get through the Super Whales and then potentially the Gosu Crew or Method Orange, and these teams just look so strong in Battle for Azeroth.
Super Rejects are basically playing spoiler right now to that top 3, and Super Whales are trying to maintain order. Super Whales basically have the power to keep the top 3 in line.